simple. I tell them take it slow. I feed it water and ideas, so I let it grow. I tell them take it easy. They laugh and tell me no. That's cool, but I don't see them laughing at my money though. They spitting facts at me. I'm spitting tracks, catch me. I'm spitting gold. Got my records, no you can't combat me. They tell me Jesus walks. I tell them money talks. Playing got me chill, cause I'm living in an icebox. They tell me I've been sleeping. I say I'm wide awake. Tracks hot and witty, so they call me Mr. Easy Bake. They say the grass is greener. I think my grass is dank. Driving with a drink on an empty tank to the bank. Do you think me take a look inside my brain? The people always different, but it always feels the same. That's the real hip-hop and champagne. The haters wanna hurt me and I'm laughing at the pain. Staying still, eyes closed, let the world just pass me by. Pain pills, nice clothes, if I fall I think you'll fly. Touch me, fight us, make me part of your desire. Not to guide us, I feel fear for the very last time. Tell me that I'm special, I smile and shake my head. I give them stories to tell friends about the things I said. They tell me I'm too humble, I say I'm turning red. They let me lie and feel like they've been misled. They give so much to me, I'm losing touch, get me. Served on a silver platter, ask for seconds, they just let me. They tell me I'm a god, I'm busting the facade. 6 feet off the ground, at all times I think I'm feeling odd. No matter what I make, they never see mistakes, making so much bread. I don't care that they're just being fake. They say that they're below me, I act like I'm above. People blend together, but I will be lost without their love. Can you heal me? Have I gained too much? When you become untouchable, you're unable to touch. Is there a real me?
What the fuck? That's so sweet. You're so sweet. Oh my god. Hi, Skylark. Hi. Hello. Oh my goodness. But we have the M and the Moon and the Dobby. Oni, Z. Fuck those monsters. Twitch wouldn't let me put professional monster fucker. And I think that's bananas. I think also not apparently allowed. I'm pretty sure bananas is a word that's not allowed. Oh, you want to see the full fit? I just almost yanked my ring light. You want to see it? Are you ready for this? Hold on. Oh, I'm not plugged in. I forgot. Boom. White. Y'all know how, sorry. You know how I had the like big black shoes that were like leathery and stuff? Or like, I forgot what this is called. This, the shiny fabric. Now I have them in white. Yes. Yes. I had to put my best monster outfit on. We have to, I take my role as professional monster fucker seriously. Is the music, it feels loud for me, but like, I don't know. I feel like my music's been really loud for me lately. I'm ready. I told y'all, I don't play around with monster fucking. I would love to be a professional monster fucker. But how are y'all doing today? I'm gonna post little pictures because I'm trying to be a good content creator lad. I want to do good at my job. I'm putting professional monster fucker on Twitter too. I'm putting it everywhere because Twitch wouldn't let me, so now I'm salty. They sure can. It's hard to actually tell with my lighting. Like if I were to like turn all these lights off, you can see it much better. But yeah, they changed too. I'm trying to get it to like closer. Blue, orange, green, pink, yellow, different blue, white. Skylark, 18 months, wow! Wow, that's so heckin' cool. Holy heck. That's so long. Right? I fucking love them. Also, I wonder, can I put, that's better. I was gonna put on a different top with this because I realized I just matched black on top of black. And my, like, everything is so dark. Because I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. I don't. Also, one day the camera will stop fighting me too. I don't know. I'm unsure. I'm an unsure lad. Y'all, what are we doing today? We're fucking some monsters today. Wow. That feels a little better. Who knows? Oh, you know what you and me are gonna do together? And wait, shit, I can't upload it now. Fuck. I was gonna upload our resting Twitch face video. Me and Grob recorded last night. I can't upload that now that I'm on stream. What did I think? What was I thinking? There's no way my computer would not be fussy. I'm saying. Lemon and Chris, hi, and Jen, hi. Bum, bum, bum. Maybe I will game while you do and just zone out. Do it. It's a vibe kind of day. It's a Wednesday. Y'all, you know what today is? Happy 420's Eve. If that is relative to you in your location and your whatever legalities that allow you to maybe partake. For Quinn, I am in a location that allows me to partake. So happy 420 Eve. My nose is already acting up. Didn't act up a single time today, and now it wants to act up. You decide to fuck monsters today rather than crush on. I thought about that too late. Whenever I put the poll up in the Discord today, I was like, oh shit. I didn't add the fucking new game that we had literally just talked about playing. But this works too. This is in that same zone, just less detective-y. Had been too obsessed on game, but here I am, tied. I'm putting professional monster fucker on Twitter. Because I will be petty now. That's what I was doing. It's getting warm in my room. Is how I spell professional? I don't know how to spell things. How do I spell? Hold on. I need to see how I spelled it in my title, because my title's correct. There we go. I need to sit up. This camera makes me sit up like a big boy. Fuck. Same vein. Thick, throbbing vein. If I successfully, well, sorry, let me not show you my screen. If I successfully get somebody, if I like actually, we haven't fucking dated yet in Monster Prom. Nobody's wanted to be our date. If I get somebody today, I will take a shot. I will take a shot of Fireball. This is a big glass of water. No, it's vodka. I have a big glass of vodka. No, it's water. It's water. Not even I could handle this much. This would be like for an entire day. I feel like I genuinely could drink that much. I know we talked about it a few times, but your boy's tolerance is like up there. But like in a day's worth. This would be like if I was like celebrating something and we were like drinking from like 6 to midnight, some kind of level. Jen! Hello, how are you doing? I don't know why I said going. Because we're going to flirt with some monsters today. You were just prepping. You were just ready. Oh? You've had a bit of the adult juice? We love it. I did it. I tweeted it. What now? What now? My mirror is dirty. Please don't come for my mirror. It's been so dirty. I've been so sick. I can't possibly be expected to clean the mirror. Ooh, gonna tipsy cook? Please be careful. Please be careful. Please, please. I'm all for it though. I mean, drinking a glass of wine and doing like baking cooking is so relaxing. Me and wife tried it a couple times over the pandemic and it was so nice. I'm doing good. How are you doing, Epic? I'm trying to lean back more in my chair. I'm trying to like balance my sounds better because I get too up in my microphone and stuff when I'm streaming. I need to like sit back and like breathe like a big boy. I need to get a tissue. Sorry, I forget that actually unmuting my microphone doesn't do anything. I don't know why. Woo. Getting back up to this desk is a nightmare. Tide, no! I'm gonna have to piss. No! Too much water. Not enough space. Sorry, let me just spill that down me. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready to smooch some monsters? I could always use more water. You're right. I really could. What if I like make my chair go up more? It can't. It's up as much as it possibly can. Oh, Genshin. I've been wanting to start Genshin, but something tells me I won't put it down. How's my naughty void kitty? sleeping in the chair next to me. Like the perfect little mwah she is. Sometimes. You won't, it's a trap. But also Monster Prom is good and fun. I'm excited. What I put Monster Prom, but I have all of them. Like I have all of the Monster Proms. Oops. That's the wrong area. Sorry, we fucked all my stuff up. I'm changing my Sorry, I'm trying to see why my lighting's being weird. Is it this? No. Wait, maybe. Maybe. I feel like my lighting's just been weird lately, and I've been fucking around with it, and I still can't figure out what it is or what feels off. I know it's just me. I'm obsessing. This is what happens all the time, especially when I come back after a really, really big break. I obsess about my lighting. I don't know why. I really like lighting. I want to know, like, I wish I knew how to do, like, lighting stuff more professionally. Because it's really fun to do lighting. It just, everything is so fussy. There we go. That's fine, I think. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? I can also turn this light to a colored light. Grob could absolutely help me with lighting. Grob is really, really good at lighting. Ooh, I like having the colors too. What if I do like a blue? I don't know. We're vibing. I'm trying things out. And if I turn this one down, it'll give me more blue. Watch this. Yeah, that's so much better. Ooh. Did I change the color? I totally changed the color. How did I do that? I'm backlighting. I sure am. Oh, if you want me to backlight, I gotta get the other one. Hold on. I got you. Watch this. Oh, I'm not even on my full screen. I'm so sorry. Hold on, watch. I got you. Wow. One of the bajillion ring lights. Ah. I'm bugging up. Bugging it up. I don't want it to like blare y'all, like be blaring. Oop. I just want to show you backlighting. See? No, maybe? Yeah. Sorry, I'm being a heathen. Too many fucking ring lights, y'all. That's the gist of it. Like if I wanted blue behind me, I could put it right behind my, yeah. But then it gets blinding. I'll probably turn it off. Ah, he's married though? Hey, that's okay. I'm poly as fuck, yo. He's cute. I had to be like, he married though? Doesn't, I mean, I'm still married. Well, me and my wife are essentially married. Get out of here. Get out of here. I could do like, oh, that's actually cool. That's actually cool. Why don't I do that? What? It's whatever. It's fine. It's fine. I'm done. I'm done. I don't know why I was lighting behind me instead of lighting the background behind me, because that's a much smarter thing. Yeah, I like that actually. Wow. That's fine. I'm gonna stop fussing. Thanks, Beardless. Have we decided to rock Danny Phantom instead of redying right away? We have. I'm gonna rock Danny Phantom just a little bit. Because it took too long to get here. See, that's so bright. That's too bright. I'm also trying to give myself less light in my whenever I stream, like have like cooler like lights on me, because it's a lot to have a lot of ring lights on you all the time. I need to adjust my sound because it's loud. Okay, but I'm gonna pause music anyway because we're gonna fuck some monsters. Oh, Monster Prom's gonna be really loud. So let me mute this for a second. I don't want it to be. Oh, what Monster Prom do we want to do? Cause like I have Monster Prom. I have like Monster Prom all 1 through 4. I have like camp, road trip. Is there a Monster Prom that's like worse than some others, or worse than others? Sorry, that's not. I don't know how to word. Bye, Chris. Bye. Thank you for being here. No, see, that's why I'm not doing a poll, because I know you'll tie it, and I want to start playing. So I'm asking if there's one that's like, does Monster Camp suck and Monster Road Trip is way better, or something like that. Gonna briefly lurk so I can edit some spicy poetry. Yes, hells yeah. Do what you gotta do. Thank you for lurking. Oh my god, I forgot I can do. Oh my god, I'm so silly. I forgot I can do this with my ring. So silly. So silly. Well, now you can see the ring light. Not if I do this. Can't see nothing if I do that. Get fucked. But I told you I would take a shot of Fireball if I actually get a date in Monster Prom. If I actually get a date, I'll take a shot. That's what I was. Quality of life and stuff is definitely better from the first to the second one. Start off with a shot for good luck. Do you think that would make me be smooth? Do you think that would make me be a little smoother? A little bit of courage juice. Let's do Monster. What did you say, Skylar? You said, haven't played Road Trip yet, but camp is nicer in terms of quality of life. We can do Road Trip then. I don't think I've played that one. I'm gonna start it up. Y'all still can't hear. It's fine. Liquid courage. That's what it is. Liquid confidence. My best shows I've ever played started with a shot. Damn it, y'all gonna make me do this. I was using it as a oh, I knew it was gonna be loud. Can't fool me. No fooling me. All right, y'all tell me how loud. Oh wait, shit, I know what I didn't. Oh my god, I'm such a silly. What is it, my glasses? Bats? I got bat glasses. Bats. Where's Monster Prom? Monster Road Trip. Boop. Yeah, there we go. I forgot what the best place for me was, so we'll just have to go with it. I will start off with half a shot. How about that one? Streamer version. Aw. Look at this. Look at this. Look how this is why I fucking love this game. Because it says that it gives us options. Remember, you can set your trigger warnings and customs. Visual warning to events with Patricia. Okay, I can do that. Ooh. Oh, next few months. Okay, cool. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, it's gonna be so good. It's freaking bats. Love Halloween. Damn it, you're right. It's freaking bats. Love Halloween. Okay, let me make sure I turn things on. Yeah, let me know. Speak now, or forever hold your peace. If I need to adjust the shit. But I will do streamer mode. And then I think, where did it say? Customize. Drugs warning, toilet humor, highly sexual, highly violent. Oh, jump scare? Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, I think it's fine. I think I don't want to pause my game. I could just warning. I could just put warnings on. Just to have them. Wait, but I don't want it to like not let me. Like I don't want it to like stop those things. I think it just warns. Hold on. Flags content with written. Okay. So maybe just like, it says, please keep in mind that the nature of the game is such that stuff like violence and sex are common grounds. These trigger warnings will warn you off the most intense cases that might trigger, or warn you of the most intense cases that might trigger even someone accustomed to the franchise usual tone. Yeah. Oh, Jen, I'm so sorry. I'm glad that your mom is able to do that for him, though. Alright. Yeah? Oh, it's too... No, it's definitely too loud.
Yay! Sweet!
I'm gonna leave the voice relatively high. Music... That's probably fine. I think it was just like a little too loud. Like just a skosh. I'd rather my voice be... Yeah, it's much better. That's what I thought. Do you want to hear awesome voice effects, or would you rather make them up as you go? No, I want voices. I don't want to make my own voice right now. There's me! There's just me. Prank Master. Keep playing to unlock? Fuck yeah. The true survival co-op experience, including a player player performance ranking at the end. Love that. Easy, normal, or hard? Focus on the narrative and take the scenic route. Higher initial resources. Deep conversations are impossible to fail. I want to be challenged. I want to have to woo. I'm doing this one. And we're taking a shot to start off. Should I watch this? I used it last night for podcast. Also, I will put me and Grab's podcast up to tonight after I get off. I cannot do it while we're doing this. I washed it. Boom. Fireball. The thing that me and Grab had a conversation on last night about how much he dislikes Fireball. He also said, he said that he dislikes Fireball. And then also proceeded to tell me that he is allergic to it as well. And I was like, yeah, you don't like Fireball because you're allergic to it. But I think he just doesn't like it because it has that cinnamon. I feel like a lot of people who don't like Fireball or don't like Red Hots, like that kind of cinnamon. The like not like coffee cinnamon, the like candy cinnamon, which is a completely different cinnamon. All right, cheers. Cheers. Bedrock, hi, welcome in. Hey, we would like a little clink. Clinkies. Clink. Clink, clink. Spicy. Oh. Oh, that hit my sinuses. Blah, blah. All right. Now that the liquid courage has been downed. Hot toddies are really are good for busting up nose stuff too. God, I wish I would have made a hot toddy while I was sick. But Fireball and apple whiskey, or the wonderful Inushik told me about putting a shot of Fireball like in your cider, because I was drinking cider one night and they on collab, and they mentioned it and it's delicious. It's really good. I also I had some kind of like blackberry seltzery thing that somebody used with Fireball. They made a drink like blackberry whatever and then Fireball. I didn't know Fireball was more commonly used in drinks. It's really fucking good. Fireball and sweet tea, I've never tried that. Yeah, that's so fair, Jen. Love cinnamon buns, cinnamon swirls, all the sweet, but red hot in Fireball, nasty. It's that certain kind of like cinnamon that's in it. Oh no, I've also had, I can't drink tequila for that same reason, because I got fucked up on tequila one time, and it was a very bad time. It was a bad time. Sorry, I'm readjusting. It was a bad time. And now my stomach, every time I have tequila, is like, haha, no. Absolutely not. I don't like that my camera, I don't know. My mama used to give me hot toddies as a child. All right, well, not that I wouldn't recommend doing that for a small bean. That one's no good. Don't do that one. That one should not be. I mean, I was definitely one where my family definitely rubbed like rum on my gums and stuff, so I wouldn't put it past them to not do that either. I've never tried Fireball and sweet tea though. The mythical beast of asphalt. Can I lose this? Can I die? We once tamed it in what became one of the strangest, most wonderful journeys of our lives. Back then, when we were young and unafraid, summer was coming to an end when Polly and Scott planned a road trip. The whole thing was bound to go off the rails. This was the prank masters, after all. Scott Howell, 21, a werewolf athlete who compensated for his rather small brain with a stupidly huge heart. Polly Geist, 22, a party ghost with an insatiable hunger for all the wrong things. Each of them were, by themselves, an agent of chaos. But together they were the perfect combo. Who, in their right mind, would have agreed to join them on such a trip? No! Are they not here? Oh, look at the DLC characters. Look at that character! Oh, my boy! My boy's here. These characters are so dope! I feel like I can keep going with my lad. These characters are cool! I love that we have a little duder. Oh god, Jen, I'm so sorry. Osboy, best boy. That's what I'm saying. Osboy, best boy. I'm gonna do my name.
Cool.
Cool. Ooh. Oh my god, stop. Dude, your trip vibes. Oh, hold on. Okay. Desert vibes, tropical rave, lo-fi beats, surf rock. Ah, got it. You know I love a like surfing USA level of just like soft or surf rock vibe. Oh wait, lo-fi is really good too. Oh wait. Okay, that's fine. It gives me fucking what's that? Studio nope. Yeah, no, Studio Killers. I think it's Studio Killers. It gives me that vibe. The newest one where they were in the car. I forgot what it's called, but like that's the vibes it gives me. Lo-fi beats also a vibe. Also, I like that it gives me bi vibes. No, not this one. It's either between these two. I like that it reminds me of Studio Killers. Bitter Blade High. Was the road trip a dangerous idea? Yes. Was it poorly planned? Yes. Did we do it anyway? Fuck yes. Bum, 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 bum. Maybe I should take my shoes off. Ooh, they keep getting trapped in the wire. That's much better. For in the end, we were young and unafraid. And we were ready to start.
I can do it.
Not for free, not the fee. Oh, ooh, okay. Cheap motel. It's better than sleeping outside, right? Biker bar, full throttle in a bottle. Fucking love that. Let's go full throttle in a bottle. Isn't a car just a bike with a couple more wheels? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Breaking bottles, clinking shot glasses. Oh wait, is this like fucking what's the cat ears? I thought you were a good boy, doggo. These are new headphones that were gifted to me. Sometimes a cat, sometimes a dog. We mix it up. But it reminds me of like Slay the Spire or Inscription. Clinking shot glasses, revving motors. 10 fucking 15 months. Thank you for 15 months. The crash of a window some dude just got thrown out of.
Can I dart?
Can I dart, bro? Do you even dart, bro? Such are the dulcet melodies of a bona fide biker bar. This is your chance to embrace your inner badass. What do you do?
Polly,
I'm
I
gonna
have a
start
question.
a fucking brawl. Yeah, what's up? I've been meaning to ask you, how do you road
It's
trip?
okay, Scott.
There's no shame in asking, Scott. Let me explain. All of us will share 6 essential resources, and we need to manage them wisely to keep the trip afloat. So we need to be careful, because the choices we make during the road trip can affect the resources. And if one of them depletes completely, we can kiss this road trip goodbye. I get it. So our goal is to avoid running out of any resource and keep the road trip forever. It's almost like they're explaining the game. No, the goal is to reach one of the 6 destinations every road trip leads to. I have this travel guide that explains how each destination requires us to hoard a different resource. You can check said guide whenever you want. Click on the Destinations tab to the right or press E on the keyboard. Press E. Okay. There you'll find the requirements to reach a destination and win the game. Enough exposition. Narrator voice inside our heads. We get it. Keep our resources far above 0 and hoard enough of one resource to reach a destination. Let's go. Alright. Okay, so I can hit E. Okay. Oh, this is so exciting. I could start a motherfucking lion. Elden Ring, theoretically. I did yesterday, doesn't matter more because of the old versions of the game. Oh no, Lion, did they change something? Did they update something? That sucks. I'm so sorry. What's that? Plus hype? So essentially, we can do cool things. We can start a brawl, play simple, or grab some drinks. But essentially what I'm looking at is, that's minus money, that's plus money, that's plus hype. I want to start a motherfucking brawl. You sit at the bar next to the 2 patrons arm wrestling. One of them wins and the other breaks a stool over his head. They tackle each other to the ground.
Yes.
Yeah, fight, fight, fight. You watch those 2 balls of muscle roll around on the floor. Sigh, must we always resort to violence? I mean, you actually do resort to violence a lot, but you're not feeling it today. You're in more of a holier-than-thou pacifist mood right now. Instead of throwing punches, you decide to put on your super cool badass face. That one. That one. It's more than enough to convince people not to mess with you.
Huh?
That one. What's up with your face? Are you in pain? Are you trying to hold in a fart? No, I know that face. That's a fighting face. Quinn wants to throw down. Oh, thanks, Polly. A fight! It's like sports without boundaries. Can I be your cheerleader?
Score!
Yes, Scott, you can be my strong, furry cheerleader any day of the week. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Don't remember how you decided violence wasn't the answer? Well, it turns out peer pressure is always the answer. So you're fighting someone. There's gotta be at least one person in this bar whose ass you could kick. Who do you challenge? Oh, you're cool. Oh, fuck. Barry Bob, the buff badass magician. Nick Negzaz, your worst nightmare, who happens to be made of nightmares. I'm getting thirsty on Maine. I sure am. That's sorry. I went a little southern. I sure am. Do I fight nightmares or literally a buff badass magician? Feld, hi! Thank you for sending your fam this way. What were you playing? What were you doing? Who would I hope this ends in some kind of like rough play at the end? Do I want to fuck nightmares? Or do I want to fuck always the badass magician? Look at that beard! Magnificent. You open the fight by inviting Barry Bob to pick a card from your deck. Barry draws the ace of clubs. You shuffle it back in. Now is this your card? You swing a wooden club in Barry's face. Barry opens his sleeve and releases a beautiful white dove to take the hit instead. No! No! Then he casts Splat Kazam, a spell that allows him to slap you in the face with his wand. No! No! Fine! -2 magic until you have a hanky rope long enough to tie Barry up. And now with the help of my lovely assistant, we will make you disappear. Wait, can you have teams in this fight? I thought it was a 1 versus 1 thing. Forget that shit. We're in a magic fight territory. Baby, there's no rules. Nico, hi! How are you doing, friendo? Oh, let me give you a shot. I was 3 hours online. I am tired. Go get some rest. Go do what you gotta do. Thank you for sharing peeps with me. Your friends help you roll Barry Bob out of the door. He lays a curse on you all. Wait. He lays a curse on all your future children as he bounces down the road. Everyone laughed at you for learning sleight of hand magic. Oh, +2 hype! Until you proved you could use it for violence.
Come on.
+2 hype.
You can do this.
Alright. Roadside Wig Museum. A museum full of capillar wonders? My money goes down, my hype goes up, and I get unknown. Oh wait, my hype? I mean, look, we're already hoarding hype. I love this game. I haven't got to play this one. This is a first time playthrough for me. I'm excited. My money's gonna go down regardless. I don't like that. I'm gonna keep going for hype. I liked everyone's leather jackets. Can we get matching jackets, bro? Wigs of every color, shape, and style, from afro to updo, are on display
Wig
here.
to meet you, madam.
You never know. You never knew there was such a rich history to artificial hair. There are plenty of things to check out in the museum. You decide to... Whoa, again. Let's choose an action, not make an. Let's choose an action and make an event happen.
Nice.
Yes, I'm ready for all the randomness these events involve. Actually, Polly, I was checking this travel guide, and it seems they aren't so random after all. Are they not? Yeah, thank you, Moon. Look, these different signs apparently refer to different types of events. The most common type of events are called exchange events. After making a choice in those, you'll always lose a resource and gain a resource no matter what. The trick is making the right choice. Since that'll decide which resources are gained and lost. But if there's a resource sign next to an event type sign that's called a known resource, it means that resource is guaranteed to be affected no matter what your choice is. Oh, gotcha. I love this game. No, I love Monster Prom. I haven't played through the newer ones. That's kind of what we're doing now. But like I watched the first one get played by a couple of YouTubers, and like I played it the first time myself like a month or two ago. I fucking love this game. It's just the like fucking level of raunchy just shit that I love. It pulls no punches sometimes. I like a game that's mean to me. For example, if we see an action with this sign, we know we'll lose money here. Our choice will only determine which resource we'll gain. Oh, okay. That's not so bad. If we know losing or gaining a resource is unavoidable, we could be straight about it. Strategic about it. This all sounds very useful, but also like too much pressure for fan favorite Polly to keep track of. Quinn, can we leave these decisions to you? Thanks. Yeah, you're good. So, guess which resource you'll gain and what you'll lose. You'll always gain hype. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Oh, check out the exhibition. Oh, this is up in the air. I want hype. I need hype. I need to hoard hype. Thank you for keeping me hydrated. As I sploosh it all down myself. I want to check out the exhibit. You, Polly, and Scott enjoy wandering around the magical wigs for the fabulous exhibition for all of 4 minutes.
Polly time!
Okay, I'm tired of staring at these wigs. Let's try some on. Please do not try on the wigs, ma'am, says an employee, or I'll be forced to call security. If we can't try them on, can we at least eat them? I'm hungry. And the big powdered wig looks like cotton candy. If you eat the wigs, I'll definitely need to call security. What about the wig, this wig here? The sign says, arcane powers incomprehensible to any mortal.
Yeah.
Bye, Jumpy. Have a good rest of your time zone. Alex, how's he at home from work? Let me comprehend them. The employee sighs and clicks a button in his pocket, and you all go forcibly carried away to the next room by security guards. This sucks. How the hell are we supposed to have fun here if we can't touch stuff, eat stuff, or fuck around with forbidden magic? Great question. You don't know how much about having fun in a museum yourself, but you know a lot about bothering people who want to be left alone. You look around the exhibition and decide who to pester for your entertainment. This curious fellow who seems to be really into wigs, or this dandy, suave gentleman who looks quite heisty? I like that. Said gentleman moves closer to you, casually eavesdropping and fiddling with his attach case. I look heisty? I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, guess we misjudged you. Sorry about... Okay, you caught me. I'm here to do a heist and steal the magic wigs in the exhibition. Now that you know, do you want to join my heist crew? I absolutely would join a heist crew. Hello, I too am a monster lover. Are there any monsters for me to love? Hi, Barely Dancer. How are you doing, friendo? I want it to be Scott. We're all clear on that, right? We all want it to be Scott, right? Right? The gentleman takes you outside to a black van parked out front. He opens the back doors to reveal a bunch of people inside. This big fellow here is Tony Macaroni. He's our muscle. Tony Macaroni. He's bald, as you can see, and he really wants a nice expensive wig to cover it up. I say live your best bald life. There's Miss Appear, the master of disguise. She could turn into anyone. Her only weakness is not having enough wigs. Until today. And that's codename Hard Drive. They're our hacker. Also our getaway driver. We're a small team of wig heist enthusiasts. So we wear multiple hats. I can't get enough of this. Moon, be safe driving home. But soon, we will wear multiple wigs, and the magical wigs we steal today will be the crown jewels of our collection. Once we harness their power, we'll be able to steal all the wigs we want.
Go team!
Solid team, bro. What's the story behind your wig obsession anyway? It's all part of my mysterious past. Wig wearing femme fatales fill my backstory, but that won't be fully explored until this heist sequel. That's fair. I keep adjusting like my posture because I keep laying back, and then it's because I have shoes on. I'm gonna take shoes off. I'm free in the feet because I can't sit comfortably because I'm gay and also a heathen, so I want to sit on my feet, and I can't do that with these shoes on. I can't do that with these shoes on. I don't feel I'm not a comfortable lad. Oh. Ow. Okay. God. Too many shoe times. Too much shoe. Oh, that's so much better. That's like a world of better. Now I can romance properly. Now I can properly romance people. Excited for this day to come. Whoops. Whoops. That's fine. Boop. Sorry, I gave you a little boop. I have a pin that says them fatale on it. I fucking love that. That won't be explored until the heist sequel. We got it. Anyway, as for you two, your code names are Big Puppy and High Spirits. All right. Whoever came up with that needs a raise. Whoever came up with that needs a raise. Whoever came up with that desperately needs a raise. Bleppin'. Blep you. Get fucking blepped, him. Wig obsession? Mysterious past? Fruity teammates and code names? I know these dudes well. Anyway, as for you two, your codenames are Big Puppy and High Spirits, and you will play the vital role of being the distraction.
Nice.
Lit. I'm really good at being distracting. I have pom-poms and confetti, grenades in Scott's pockets whenever you're ready to go. No, your job is already over, you see. I need you to help me distract the audience while the real heist leader finished grabbing the goods. The suave gentleman takes off his hyper-realistic silicone mask to reveal Miss-Appear. Gasp. The real leader jumps in the back of the van with a bag full of magical wigs. We couldn't have done this without you. Here's your cut of the spoils and a burner phone. We'll be in touch. Hard drive, we're ready to go. Hard drive speeds off as the leader shouts, "Arrivederci," from the van. We did it. I mean, we didn't really do anything, but we somehow did it anyway, which is the best way to do stuff. You lose 2 soul from committing a crime, but gain 2 magic from the magic wigs. Duh.
Sure, I'll drive for a bit.
What about my hype? Ooh, I can go to an animal sanctuary. Plus soul, plus stamina, unknown. Oh. plus soul minus soul. No, I want to go to Animal Sanctuary. Fuck yeah, why would I not want to go to Animal Sanctuary?
Huh.
Whoa, I'm getting dizzy watching our resources go up and down.
Man.
Yeah, man, is it even possible to know what we're losing or gaining beforehand? Dang, we're doomed. Put something on the radio. We may fuck up this road trip, but at least we'll fuck it up while having some fun. Okay. Welcome to our humble radio show, where our guests give narratively convenient road trip tips. Today we have road trip survivors Cormac C. Thompson and Hunter McCarthy. Guys, what can you share with our audience? Let me start by saying that the number of causes of road trip related deaths is not properly understanding how to manage resources. Ah, yes, the dreaded 6. Most unexperienced road trippers think they believe in arbitrary ways, but that's simply not true. When you're making choices on the road, you have to look for little clues to infer what resources you'll be losing or gaining. Money might be the easiest one. Are you buying or renting something? Money down. Hiring someone? Money down. Doing a job or selling something? Money up. But beware, sometimes the solution doesn't obviously involve buying something, but involves using expensive stuff you may need to rent or buy. And what about magic, the mysterious substance that fuels our cars? Magic is tricky, because sometimes you'll need to use it for spells, summonings, and curses. But that'll mean lowering your magic and risking an empty fuel tank. And getting magic up can be quite hard. You could find a gas station, or you may need to resort to performing sacrifices or colding with strangers, powerful entities. You know, classic road trip stuff. Our time is up, fellas. Let's discuss the other resources in future episodes of everyone's favorite radio show, Convenient Exposition. Well, that was stupidly convenient. Scott, did you take notes? Nope. Well, I hope Quinn did at least. Oh shit, was I supposed to do that? Y'all help me, right? Otherwise, we're truly fucked. Oh no, stop. And not in a good way? No, I want to be fucked in a good way. Welcome to the Animal Sanctuary. It even has a petting zoo. There are dogs, cats, goats, bunnies, alpacas,
Here,
ducklings.
don't be shy.
Welcome in, introvert. It warms your heart to see so many animals being loved and cared for. Surrounded by all this wholesomeness and fur, what do you want to do? I'll always gain stamina. My stamina's fine. Guess which resource you'll lose? You'll gain soul. My soul is low. Guess which resource you'll gain and which you'll lose. Yeah, that's kind of up in the air. I want to volunteer. Oh my god, cat cafe? Yeah. What's better than coffee and cute cats? You step into the cafe and see your friend's Faith manning the register. Aw. Welcome to the cat cafe, guys. What brings you in today? I want to be fucked in a good way, but also I had to come see my favorite witch. Also, we've been on the road for hours, and if we don't get some caffeine, I will literally die. Polly, it's impossible for you to literally die. You're already dead. Liberal use of the word literally destroys its true meaning.
Mama like it.
Ah, I love it when you talk nerdy to me, boo. Thanks. And thanks for coming and supporting the cafe. The cats here really love the attention and playtime. That's good, because I got a pussy here that could use some playtime. Behold. Polly holds up a cat she befriended in the cafe. Of course. Okay, but for real, I was talking about my vagina! In the case that wasn't clear. You're right, Polly. Polly, I'm working now. My shift ends in a few hours, so I can text you then. Polly's getting it, y'all! I mean, good for Polly. For now, can I get you guys anything to drink? Yes, please. You didn't come here just so Polly could flirt. What do you order? Oh, cat coffee made for cats. Cat coffee made by cats. Cat coffee made of cats. No. No. I feel icky with that one. That one makes me feel icky. That one makes me feel icky, 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 Vicky. Because I don't want to drink cats. My cat is staring at me next to me. I am. Oh, shit. I am. I am a cat, so I can drink the one made for cats. Do you see that? I can. You're so smart. You're so smart.
Gross.
Whoa, that's a weird looking coffee. Why does it seem ominous? Cats like their coffee hyper black. It goes well with their grumpy attitude, skittishness, and aloof souls. I mean, have you ever seen a cat get random zoomies at 3 a.m.? Where do you think that energy comes from? That's a good point. It's a good point. Good point. Good point. Well, coffee for cats just became coffee for Quinn. You take a cup. Are you sure, Quinn? This is coffee for cats. For a reason. Yeah, fuck it. You chose this option. Knowing the potential danger of your actions won't stop you now. You drink the coffee for cats and gain 2 stamina. Ha, that wasn't so strong. Faith worried you for nothing. You blink and suddenly you're in the middle of a desert. Your clothes are torn and sweaty. Your heart is racing. The hell? There you are, Quinn. Thank goodness we caught up to you. We've been driving after you for half an hour. They've been chasing you in the car, and you were out pacing them? It's gotta be that coffee. You were more wired than an electronics store. I tried to warn you, moron. A shot of cat coffee is worse for your blood pressure than a hit of cocaine. You could barely hear them over the sound of your pulse. Your soul is under siege by the caffeine. Your body wasn't made to handle this much hyper. Are you gonna die? Hopefully not. But at the very least, you're losing 2 mind. That's
we going
fine.
too fast?
No, we're going perfect. Doom's Diner. And low budget reptile show. No, I want Doom's. If you're ever given the option to pick a diner and something else, you pick a diner. Nothing is better than a diner. And that's why Cars 3 is the best one in the trilogy. I never saw it that way. You read about this diner in a listicle of the top 10 most cursed restaurants you should ever visit.
We're doomed.
Obviously, you took that as a challenge. Seriously, after all the dark magic you've messed with over the years, you think you can handle a diner? So now that you're here, what do? I use the jukebox. You all enter the diner and approach the jukebox to play some tunes. But before you can pick a song, your eerie waiter shows up to ruin your good time. Oh my god. Hello, is that Jared? Gerard? There's nothing better than a diner. 2 diners. Fuck, you're right. Damn it, y'all have outsmarted me. I wouldn't touch that if I were you.
What?
You were us? When were you us? I never noticed.
It's okay, Scott.
It's okay, Scott. It's okay. Gerard stops confusing Scott with your past conditional tenses. Oh, I see. And be of service here. We're obviously not you, because unlike you, we're cool and fun and sexy, which means we're gonna play some music. You think you're better than me? Cool, fun, and sexy as nothing on stressed, depressed, and hot in a sickly Victorian child way. I don't think he's wrong. I think that's one of the most. I think that's such a accurate statement to how I dress on a personally day-to-day basis. Are you feeling a little bit? He right though. I'm stressed, depressed, and I don't know about the third one, but I like Victorian-esque gothic shit. Besides, I'm trying to do you a favor. The reason you shouldn't use a jukebox is because it's cursed. You lying. The only cursed thing here is the picture I found of a squirrel that ate a whole melon.
Nice.
How did the squirrel manage to fit that whole melon in its body? Gerard? It shouldn't be atomically possible. Gerard, look at the squirrel. Gerard. Oh, stop. Your Budley stream of nonsense is curse enough already. Go ahead and use the jukebox to your funeral. No, it's not. My funeral is way cooler. Was in a way cooler diner. Quinn, choose a dope curse track to play. Spider! Oh my goodness. Welcome in. Welcome in. I'm gonna go over here real quick to say that we are playing Monster Prom, and there's some trigger warnings with it because it's crude, rude in the best of ways. Oh damn, I do like this light better. Well, welcome. Sorry, I'm adjusting. Spider, what were you doing? What were you playing? But that's it. That's all I have to say. We're doing a game that is rude, crude, and talks about a lot. We're living our best monster fucker lives today. Love Monster Prom. I've never played this one. Yeah, it's road trip. Yeah. I didn't know it was like a thing, like survival aspect to it. Thank you, Moon. Oh, you were doing fucking Call of Duty? Hells yeah. I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time, like a long time. How was it? Also, if you have to raid and run, totally understandable. And anyone that came in, thank you so much for the follows. My name is Quitter, Invincible either way, he, him pronouns. I'm on literally everything. I do podcasts, I do TikTok, I do YouTube, I do a lot of stuff. So if you want to check out my stuff, great. If you want to join my Discord, that's when you can know when things are going down, or the best way to know when I go live, because my schedule is kind of up in the air everywhere, like all over the place. I try to stream 2 days a week, but alas. Game mechanics in this are different than the others. Oh my god, I love that. I'm so glad we picked this one. I've also taken a shot and possibly a big boy spicy hit in a little bit, if I'm feeling it. So if you're also feeling the energy that I am portraying on this fine Wednesday middle of the week night, you're more than welcome to join along. Chose a dope curse track to play. Go full DDR and go Valkyrie Dimension and bait Bethog, I don't know, virus back to back. 10 uninterrupted hours of the happy birthday song. I don't know what this is. It's Beethoven? Yeah. As soon as you hit play, lights in the diner go out. Oh, you're playing, oh. Oh shit, I totally missed that. My brain just went doo-doo-doo. I was like, Call of Duty? I was like, I wouldn't have thought, but I mean, Call of Duty is a good time. Call of Duty was a good time when I played with like not people, but like when I played like Call of Duty Zombies. King of the Castle makes more sense though. How's King of the Castle? Did you win? My brain also isn't working the best. I took a shot. Salem! Ooh, you could get yourself a glass of wine. You could. What's stopping you? Nope, but I got to marry the Fit Folk Prince. Ooh, thanks to some guidance. Hells yeah. I don't think I've won against Chad either. It's really hard to win. As soon as you hit play, all the lights in the diner go out. Demonic arrow-shaped sigils appear at your feet. The devilish something song begins, and you dance faster than you ever have before. Your feet are a frenzied blur. What a tragic affair. This song is 2 of the hardest DDR tracks ever created, magically stitched together by a sinister necrodancer. Even I would never create a curse so despicable. The only dance moves I condone are the headbang and the stoic, lighter sway anyway. Whoa, intense. How long is Quinn gonna be dancing for? Oh my god, I won't stop the dancing. Oh, the newest update tries to make it easier for the Monarch now? Oh, that's good. Chimeria? Who knows? Can't stop dancing. You dance out of the diner. You dance all day, every day, ceaselessly. You dance your way into your dream job. You dance during your wedding vows. You have children, and your beautiful family dance together. You grow old, and you're diagnosed with terminal dancing syndrome. And your doctor is also dancing. You only have 6 months left to live. 6 months left to dance. You make the most of that time until you begin to see the light, and you dance towards it, ready at last for rest. The light clears and you're lying on the diner floor. Everyone is staring at you, and they burst into
You
applause.
rock.
Oh my god, Quinn, you broke the curse. You broke it with your sick, nasty moves. You gain +2 hype for bearing such a hard-ass two-headed song, but lose 2 stamina because that was too much dancing for one day. Maybe for one life. Time to stop and get some rest.
I'm not sure where to go.
Ugh, finally a place to rest. Even the spectral booty needs to do some sitting after so much shaking. The guide says there are several rest stops, like this one. We should be able to reach one, like once a week, after visiting 4 locations or so. How long is this game? I'm almost there for hype. Is it as long as I make it? Like if I get enough for hype, then I get to go do the hype one.
Let's go, Scott.
As your friends leave, you realize you don't want to rest because you're utterly addicted to making choices all the time. And the rest stop is no different. You quickly assemble the five things you can check out around here. But beware, with the exception of the car, each choice can only accommodate 1 player. It's first come, first serve. Now go and see what the different spots do. Ooh, a fucking noodle stand? Yeah. Info, rest area, car, bus. Let's go see my friends real quick.
Just
I don't
choose
want
one
to trade.
thing. You can do it.
Welcome to the benches, where you can relax and talk with either Polly or Scott. The conversations you can hold with them are a chilled narrative that with no choices to be made. If you have enough conversations, you might score a date ending with one of them. Oh, I need Scott. Also, by having a conversation with Polly or Scott, you can achieve the chaotic energy passive effect, which will remain active for the following week. What does it do exactly? Find out for yourself. Go and make some small talk. Ooh, for 1 week, all resources gained or losses from location events are increased by 1. For 1 week, all resources gains or losses events... Oh wait, it's the same thing. Increased by 1, increased by 1. It's the same thing! I'm gonna date Scott. His big, beautiful muscles. Oh, this is adorable! Yeah, bro. Polly and I have been looking for a place to live together. Isn't that awesome? We've been touring apartments lately. It's like an adventure. It's like we're looking for a legendary treasure, but the treasure is, you know, a home. So far, it's been super hard to decide, though. Oh, wait, are Scott and Polly together? All the apartments we visit are really cool and very elegant. Picture this. Almost all of them have indoor toilets. Fancy, huh?
Oh.
Ooh la la.
Awesome, bro!
Maybe they're roommates. Are we hitting it with the maybe they're roommates? At one place, the owner told us if we wanted to rent from him, we had to join his reggae band, an apartment, and a new hobby. Sign me up. One had a strict rule that we could not consume ketchup while renting. Strange rules are bad, but healthy habits are good. Polly said that these were very bad signs, though. She's the brains of this operation, so I trust her
Good idea.
blindly. Yeah, it sounds like a good call. One was just a basement that Polly said was probably criminal in some way. You may want to dodge that one. There is also one with no bathrooms, where the owners offered to sell us what she calls a shit bucket.
No, bro.
That one was definitely bad. I know that much.
Yikes.
Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds real bad. Patty! With Patty. You could fireplace in the background. That's nice. You like my little fireplace? Thanks. How you doing, friendo? I have a appointment in 5 minutes. Bye. Thank you so much, Mary, for bringing your fam over here again. Did we get you a shout out? Hold on. I think we did. The wonderful Tide did that. Thank you so much, Tide. But yeah, go do what you gotta do. Anyway, I like to see all this apartment searching as a fun journey. And you know what they say about destinations and journeys? You do know, right? I don't. But I think it was something about journeys being fun. This journey of yours does sound fun, and I'm sure you'll find the right place eventually. We got this. Thanks, bro. I'd love to have you visit once we find the place. You spend the rest of the night imagining how perfect Scott Scott's new home will be. It's a fun and cute activity. Scott's the best. Chaotic energy. Wherever the prank master goes, hijinks ensue. Can you handle this consciousness of their mess? Next week, all resources gains and losses from events are increased by 1. That's gonna suck. In the lead! Hype is in the lead. For bedtime, I am doing much better now that I'm not sick as fuck. Is chat loading? I can see you, Alex. What's up? Ooh. I know that this will be fucked with. Money and soul, but this is unknown. No, I'm gonna do this because at least unknown soul is guaranteed than unknown. The real curse of that diner was a nasty restroom. Yuck. Ah, farm life. Sometimes it's nice to get away from the hustle and bustle of the city. Farmers enjoy clean air, homegrown food, and a simple living. Sure, it comes at the price of doing lots of hard labor and usually only having livestock for company. But fuck it, today you're all about the cottagecore life. What part of the farm do you want to see first? Cows. I saw cows. Wait a sec, the event type sign looks new. Yeah, according to the travel guide, the sign means that this is a quantities event. They work a lot like exchange events. We always lose and gain equal amounts of resources, and we have to guess which resources are tied to each option. The main difference is the amount of resources that are affected by each option. They could be affected a bit, some, a fucking lot. Scott, you never swear. That's how the travel guide phrased it. Dang. So what this foul-mouthed travel guide basically says is that we can choose to play it safe or go bonkers. You already know what Mama would choose, Gwen. But this one is up to you, boo. Go for it. Oh, I like to go bonkers. Fucking crows. Cows. I like the cows. Crops, cows, or crows? I would totally look at the cows. I look at the cows. Oh, she has done a real swear. She wiped cake on the fridge. We told her not to. She looked us dead in the face, happily yelled, "Oh shit! No!" Laura and I handled it poorly because we pissed ourselves. Patty, dude, I would have done the same thing. I would have pissed myself. This is why I can't be a parent. I would just cackle at that. I want the crows though. Crows. You and your friends wander the farm for a little bit when you run into its owner. Ooh, my god, you're adorable. Hello there, my name is Jacqueline? Like Jack-o'-lantern? What brings you to my farm? Hi, Jacqueline. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. I'm Scott, and these are my friends Polly and Quinn. We're on a road trip and saw the farm and thought, let's check it out. Look at Polly and Scott. Oh my god, they're so cute. How fun. Do you frequently trespass on strangers' properties while you're road tripping? We don't just trespass, we also meddle. We saw your crops being totally ravaged by crows and thought we could scare them off or something. Could you? That would be so nice. I built a scarecrow to protect my crops a few weeks ago, but the crows weren't scared of it one bit. You think you're ready to tell them off like a mature grown-up and then nope, too funny. Jacqueline, thank you. I don't have time to be thwarting crows' plots all the time. Running a farm is a lot of work. I still have so much fishing and mining to get done. Is it fucking Stardew? Get the fuck out of here. Can I not escape Stardew? Get fucked. Speaking of which, is it already 2 o'clock? I need to sell my artisanal jellies before the farmer's market closes. I'll be right back. I'm not laughing. It's not funny. Sounds like, Jacqueline has a lot on her plate. Let's surprise her by getting rid of the crows before she gets back. Oh my god, it's like Stardew. Okay, how are you gonna do that? Before I go to bed? Yay! That's awesome, Patty! Hells yeah, still only level 1? Fuck, damn. God, I stopped playing through, what's it called? Shit. I stopped playing through Elden Ring. I need to get back to it. I miss it. 510. Shit. Fiblep 110. 18 hours. Holy shit. Like in one straight go? Okay, not in one sitting, don't even, but Christ. No, yeah, that's so fucking much. Yeah, I was gonna say, hopefully not one sitting. 6 days, 3 hours each. Oh. Quinn, I've got a baby and a job. I can't do all day anymore. That's so fair. I was gonna say, I really hope you broke that up into things, because that's so much. Fear? Ooh. Fear, I didn't read, shit. Fear isn't Crow's biggest issue nowadays. It's social awkwardness. Corner the farming market by building the first Crow ambassador. Get some props to disguise the scarecrows as one of the Crow's exes, so the whole gang will avoid the vicinity in fear of touchy situations. Get inside the Crow's minds. Arrange a series of focus groups with some crows in order to crow space the scariest scarecrow ever made. Let's go balls to the walls. Ugh, putting together a focus group sounds like a chore, but if we'll help is it Jacqueline? I guess it's worth it. You lose 2 hype and 2 money?
Hello.
Good morning, participants. I'm Dr. Corvey Meister, Marketing Executive, Crow Master
I'm here.
Products. And I'm Crow Scott. Caw. That means, hey bro, in Crow. So tell us, how do you, as crows and consumers of your brand, feel about scarecrows? Scarecrow's boring, cause one participant. Scarecrow's stupid, says another. Crows have evolved sufficient intelligence to understand scarecrows not a legitimate threat. Cause, says a third crow, who's using a metal tool to flip you off. So, Caw, what would you see, Caw, as a legitimate threat? Big cat's scary. No like flying into the glass doors. I'm scared of ocean, so vast, so unexplored. What horrible... What? Aberrations? Forgotten by God hiding those murky depths. Cool, thanks for the input. We're definitely not putting any of those scary stuff you mentioned in our next product.
Wink.
Oh, wink, I mean caw. With the 2+ mind you gained from your market research, you build the world's perfect scarecrow. When Jacqueline returns, you unveil your creation. A scarecrow with a cat's head and a kraken's body, holding 8 panes of glass and its tentacles that spin really fast. I love it. Oh my god, she's so fucking cool. Oh, poop. I realized my camera's in the way. Hold on. Good night, Patty. Should be off to bed. Love you lots. Night chat. One of the sweet monsters, please. I got you. That's what we're working on. But yeah, thank you for being here. Good night. Have a good night. But fuck their feelings. Helping Jacqueline guaranteeing you +2 soul.
I can do this.
Okay, everything's at least not dying. Ooh, are we going soul? Ooh. Plus soul, plus money, plus soul. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's smart. Timing during dehydrate.
Oh, I got it.
Hey, Polly, look what time it is. Oh, fuck yeah, put the radio on. Welcome back to the Convenient Exposition, the radio show where our guests give narrative, convenient road trip tips. I kind of don't want to, thank you for lurking, Elliot. I kind of don't want to, like, I don't want to read everything. That's too much reading for your boy. I want to win. The fuel for our bodies. Getting stamina up is simple. Eat stuff, stay hydrated, get some rest. I just hydrated. This is important since, activities such as exercising or having an intercourse will eat up your stamina. You right? Alex, that's good. Cormac, something you said about stamina reminded me of mine. It takes an experienced road tripper to differentiate how resting rises your stamina, but relaxed rises your mind. You're spot on, Hunter. A strong, relaxed mind can save you from succumbing to road madness. And what this I suspect is an ancient deity. I really don't care. I don't care. I don't want to read it. Thompson and McCarthy, am I right? No, I have no idea what you mean by that, Scott. Me neither, Polly. Me neither. I don't need them to tell me what will raise me. I know what to do. This place seems like exactly the sort of place you shouldn't visit.
What can go wrong?
Which, naturally, is exactly why you have to visit it. Horror movie logic for the win. The big question now is how you'd like to enter the premise. What's it gonna be? Ooh! Break into the basement? What the fuck is that? Drugs! Drugs! Check the backyard first. Drugs. This house has sketchy vibes, so clearly the best response is to match those vibes and enter the house in the sketchiest way possible. Breaking into the basement.
Holly time!
This seems unnecessarily dangerous. I'm in. You grab a crowbar, pry open the cellar window, and shimmy into the dark, smelly basement. Wait a sec. Do you guys hear muffled crying? You follow Scott to a big cage. A couple of people are bound and gagged inside. When they see you, they start thrashing and making muffled noises. Oh, I think we stepped into a weird sex thing, guys. You gotta be respectful with kinks. Let's leave them to it. You all start to leave. The cage people do not like that. They thrash and shout louder. Finally, one of the cage people gets their gags. We're not having sex in here, he shouts. We've been kidnapped. Please, free us before Jerry the murderer gets back. Can't have Jerry the murderer getting back. Shit, looks like these people's only chance at survival. Looks like Jerry's got a lot of crap in his basement. Oh shit. Maybe there's something here that'll help you free the captives. Weird looking shrooms. Jerry's mini flamboyant hats. Tap dancing shoes from the time Jerry decided to learn to tap dance, but ended up quitting only after 2 classes. Shit, what do y'all think? I feel like weird shrooms would always be the way to go. I mean, the mini flam- I feel like none of it's gonna be the answer. The actual answer. Shrooms. Always go shroom. Great idea, Quinn. These mushrooms will be a great way to keep prisoners' tummies full while we think of a plan.
Scott, no!
No, Scott. These are hallucinogenic. There we go. Shrooms. We're gonna eat these and trip balls. And while tripping, we'll come up with a plan. So out of the box and advanced, sober us could never conceive it. Let's do it. You all take shrooms. Sometime later, you, Scott, Polly, and the freed prisoners are sitting poolside at a fancy hotel, drinking martinis.
Oh!
Wow, that was one of the craziest escape. That was one crazy escape. Who knew a scheme that wacky could actually work? I'd go with the hats, but that's just me. That's the magic of magic shrooms, my friend. They open your mind to possibilities you never even knew existed. One of the freed captives raises a glass. I'd like to propose a toast to Polly, Scott, and Quinn. Thank you for saving our lives. Oh, I don't like that. Here, Scott, Polly, and Quinn. You guys are the best.
Awesome, bro!
Thanks, bro. We couldn't have done it without you. Our weird clay friend who we've known for years and has been with us this whole time. Ugh, something's not right. Hey, Quinn, I need you to test something. Throw your drink in my face. Hey, there's no need for that. We can still have a fun time here, can't we? Nobody needs to question the logic of the situation. Okay, that's a little suspicious. You throw your martini in Polly's face. No, please don't break the hallucination. I can't go back to the nothingness. Stay with me. Suddenly, you're lying on the floor of Jerry's basement. The captives are still in their caves. Oops. You didn't accomplish anything at all. Are you guys okay? Sorry taking a bunch of drugs didn't give us the amazing escape idea we had thought it would. Oh, we're fine, says the captives. You may have failed to free us from this cage, but you used shrooms to free us from the cage of our minds. That's even better. You can leave. Just leave us more shrooms on the way out. Maybe we'll see you crazy kids at poolside again someday. As long as they're happy. You lost 3 mind hallucinating, but you gained 3 soul. Damn! Soul's in the lead now.
Are we going too fast?
Nah, you're fine. Circus or... Ooh, that's a lot of money. Testing the limits of tech and ethics. Oof, yikes. Looks like D&D dice, though. My magic's not too bad. I need to be careful with mind. Money. I like double money. I like double money. I think double money is a good idea. So I'm gonna move that to there. It's hard to see. What if I put it back? I'll put it back up here. Oops. Wow, you've never seen technology this
The
advanced
future
before.
is here.
We're doing fucking Oculus. Finally, you can answer questions like, what's the future of virtual reality? Is crypto really the currency of tomorrow? No. And what the fuck are NFTs anyway? There's so much to see, but only so much time. You want to check out? Oh no. Oh no. I'm not... You want... Stop. I'm gonna check out the algorithm. If I had the answers to the fucking algorithm... The algorithm. You and your friends wander down the halls of the tech company until you find a room entirely dominated by a huge computer. Greetings, Polly, Scott, and Quinn, says this stilted electronics voice. It is I, Mac, the most intelligent supercomputer ever devised. Really? Do you know what my favorite color is? It's Plonk. You say it once. You saw it once while you were tripping on acid, and somehow accessed colors only shrimp can see.
Nice.
Damn, you're good.
Me.
Mr. Mac, do you know what I'm thinking about right now? You aren't thinking. Whoa, you're right. Good job. Hey Mac, do you think you could, like, not listen in on and gather data about us for a few minutes? I need a private moment with my friends. No, I'm programmed to gather data at all times to fill out my database. What if we say pretty please? Well, I've never been asked pretty please not to gather data on someone before, so sure, I'll give you a few moments of true solitude. Guys, you have access to a real supercomputer right now. Do you know what this means?
Oh, I got it.
If we use the computer to order a pizza, it'll show up really fast.
Prank masters for life.
No, goofball. This is the ultimate challenge for the prank masters. We need to prank this computer so it learns the beauty of monster error and the ingenuity of life.
With a Z.
With a Z. But how does one prank an all-knowing, constantly developing AI? Oh my god. Make a fake persona expertly crafted to warp all the computer's perceptions. Replace all the computer's stored data with pics of butts. Yeah. You wipe Mac's hard drive and fill it out with thousands of butt pics you had on your phone for reasons that can't be explained in polite conversation. Butts. No, cries Mac in computer simulated horror. What have you done? You just got pranked, son. Enjoy the booty data dump. I won't enjoy it. All my data is gone. What use do I have for a comprehensive encyclopedic knowledge of monster buttocks?
Hey.
Look on the bright side, bro. You can give really good reviews of butts now. Like this one. What do you think of this? According to beauty standards, the butt in that photo is desirable due to its bubbly disposition and the harmonic sympathy of its cheeks. I want a butt computer. Nice assessment. This prank is already paying off in dividends.
Celebration twerk.
What do you think of my booty, Mac? Polly twerks on Mac's screen with enthusiasm. You get the feeling Mac would be crying if it still had any data on the function of the lacrimal glands. What? This is not worth the price I had to pay, but since you asked, I must comply. Your butt, per my data, is unequivocally an ass that won't quit. I want a computer to tell me I have an ass that won't quit. You all laugh and leave the supercomputer to its misery. I think we did a nice thing, guys. It's probably not that great for Mac to be gathering everyone's personal data all the time anyway. Fair, but let's be real. We didn't do this for the ethics, so we did it for the lulz. So we should still probably lose 3 soul. I don't think it's fair. But at least I got to twerk, which is always a good way to get free. Plus 3 hype.
Sure thing.
Into the World Summit. Fucking LARP? Yeah, we're gonna LARP. It's all question marks. Doobadoo driving carelessly. Oh my god. Scott, fuck, turn the radio on. Convenient exposition has started already. We can't miss it. Roger. Mr. Thompson, what were you telling us about hype again? Yes, let me repeat. Anything that makes you rejoice to your core will get your hype up. That includes laughing out loud, doing thrill-seeking stuff, or going to town, if you know what I mean. I like keeping my hype strong and vigorous. That's why I avoid all the stuff that lowers my hype. Like doing boring stuff, mingling with dull or annoying people, or choosing mundane solutions over epic ones. Amen. Speaking of boring stuff, you know what else is boring? Being a good person. But sometimes you need to be if you want to keep your soul up. Ugh, yeah. Why do you need soul anyway? Beats me. At least soul is quite easy to manage. Doing good deeds, soul up. Being your worst self, soul down. So remember, kids, don't underestimate the power of helping strangers while you're on the road. You gotta keep your soul healthy and clean. Ty, thank you for making me hydrate and posture. A little stretch, a little stretch. Woo! Back pop, back pop. Cormac S. Thompson and Hunter McCarthy, everyone. Whoa, Polly, I think I've grown as a person. Yeah, Cormac X. Thompson and Hunter McCarthy are part of the family from now on. A toast to convenient exposition. Hooray. Whoa, this LARP is crawling with humans. Real, actual humans. That's weird. This must be one of those areas where the dimensional fabric between the human and monster realm is starting to tear. I love that. Strangely, the humans aren't screaming or grabbing pitchforks, which goes against all you know about their thoughts on monsters. They must think you're fellow humans, dressed up for the LARP. Fine by you, their ignorance is your bliss. Since you're here, what LARP activity are you interested in trying? All of them! PvP, it's all question marks, GM, and PC. PvP! You're at the LARP, working up the courage to order a whole leg of mutton when Scott runs up to you excitedly.
Polly, listen.
Polly, the LARP organizers said they're doing a scavenger hunt. Whoever finds the one bracelet to rule most things wins a prize. We are getting that bracelet then. What's the first clue? Intrepid travelers, search for the bracelet if you dare. Your first clue is that your prize is over there. Is Scott one of the tree people? Ah! You look where Scott's pointing and you see the one bracelet to rule most things literally sitting on a pedestal. Sweet! You rush to grab it, but some punk-ass human grabs it at the same time. It's too late, villains. We found that bracelet first. I invoke your honor to give us a prize fair and square. Okay, well, I invoke finders, keepers, losers, weepers. We saw that bracelet first, so back the fuck up. Fine. If you won't stand down, we'll settle this the old-fashioned way. With violence. Is that a bard? Stop, this is so good! This is so good. Do we have to use violence? Can I try making a seduction check instead? Sorry, but I don't want to fight a bunch of humans. I could hurt you. Your skulls are so fragile. Who are you calling human? I'm obviously a vampire. I've got razor-sharp fangs and an aloof, anti-heroic aurora. I'm so sorry, I'm bad with words. Yeah, but when your razor-sharp fangs are obviously plastic replicas from Party Town, it kind of takes the oomph out of it. No more talking. Combat has begun. We've chosen our champion. Who will be yours? The sassy alchemist or the buffant? Who knows? We don't make decisions. Ask Quinn. Oh my god. I think Polly would kill them. Polly, the potion maker, the showstopper, the breath taker, the harbinger of chaos. Scott, the good boy. He has good intentions. And apples? Maybe? He's my good boy. My good time boy. My stinky cheese. No, it's my sweet cheese. It's my sweet cheese, my good time boy. My rotten soldier. Oh, Polly, yeah.
Polly time!
It's Polly time, bitch. You might as well surrender now. Your alchemist build is totally weak against my vampire powers. Wait, Which ones are the vampire powers again? You know that shit Liam does? Being purple, turning into a hot dog stand, annoying people. What if you, what? Have you ever read the core rulebook? Vampires turn into bats, not hot dog stands. Polly's costume is so fucking fierce. And their skin isn't purple. It's sexily pale. Like, actually, no, Liam from the original game is, yeah. Oh, we're almost at a pit stop. I didn't realize that. Like moonlight glittering on the back of a dying swan. Look at their eyes.
Huh.
Well, you clearly got the being annoying part down. Ugh, attack my children. The vampire throws some rubber bats at Polly. She phases out of where she was staying and appears behind him.
Loser.
Nice try, Count Dorcula. How'd you do that? We were just over there. I don't know, ghost powers? But you can't have ghost powers, you're already an alchemist. Having 2 classes is against the LARP rules. I know, but I sort of drank all my potions while you were being annoying, so ghost powers it is. You're such a cheater. I'm telling the GM.
Good one, Polly.
Good job, bro. You made him retreat. Yep, lucky for me. Being annoying is a ghost power too. You gain 3 hype. Our hype is gonna win it for us. Polly's chaos at work, but you lost 3 magic. She used to brew her potions. That's fair. Scott's expression is everything. I just love Scott.
Okay,
He's such a good
I
boy.
need 5 minutes.
I want to go to the noodle stand.
This is going well. I'm okay.
Welcome to the bartering stand, where you can barter with little trinkets and manage your resources a bit. Each trinket is tied to a resource. You'll lose the resource tied to the trinket, but you'll give away and gain the resource tied to the trinket you take. Also, Noodles is here, but I don't know if that's a good thing.
The desert is my home.
He sounds like Stitch a little bit. How's it going, Metasack? Or Meat Sack. I said Metasack. Welcome to my swap shop. See anything you like? I'd love to make a trade. Ooh, Scott snacks, gas canister, someone else's credit card. I do have a lot of money. A sequel to an erotic fanfic about dragons. I'm not gonna trade Scott's snack. I'm gonna do credit card because our money is at 8, so I feel like we have time. Mind control lessons, enchanted guitar that can only play Wonderwall, edible potato, CEO action figure with real business advice. Wouldn't it just be trading money for money? I feel like we need to get our mind up. I'll take mind control lessons.
Sucker.
Jeez, you actually took that? I just set that out to make all my other products look better by comparison.
Let's do a little dance of
But hey,
joy.
not my fault you're a sucker. No refunds. Whatever. 7 to go! Ah, we're so close. It doesn't matter as long as we get our hype up. Metasack is just Meat Sack 5.0. Okay. Is that hype? That could be it. That could be it for us. Oh, fucking yeah, Rodeo. We'll get to see the reverse cowgirl you told me about. Oh, Scott. Now that's a rodeo. Really? Why? Oh, Scott, baby. My sweet, sweet, sexy Scott. Rodeos are an exciting celebration of all the best parts of cowboy culture. Is it? Horseback riding, calf trying, steer wrestling, and an eating obscene amounts of pulled pork. You know, that's fair. That's true. There are lots of events and exhibitions happening today. Which do you want to see? Highly sexual? Oh shit, yeah. Yeah, fucking, yeah, lasso tricks. Oh, but it can really fuck my... I want it. You and your friends sit down to watch a lasso exhibition. It really caught your attention. Get it?
Lame.
God, Quinn, yes, we get it. Repeating a lame pun over and over doesn't make it less lame. What? What pun?
I don't get it.
I didn't get it. Let's get this lasso show started, y'all. The exhibition announcer says, our first performer is everyone's favorite cow/boy, Morty the Minotaur. Your sexy challenger approaches. Who's ready to see some luscious lassoing. Forget vinegar or honey. I'll catch these flies with my thick, rough ropes. Sorry, I needed water. You right? Morty catches flies with his lasso. The crowd goes wild. Then he uses his lasso to catch the common cold. The rodeo clowns even bust out a microscope to prove it. Then he lassos the remote control, a modern trick for this sedentary cowboy. As a final, Morty lassos his own bulge, and honestly surprising he didn't. It's honestly surprising he didn't do that sooner. I love this. Ha, aren't I a catch, everyone? Because it seems like I've used my lasso to catch your eye. Thank you all, every day. I'm humbled and occasionally aroused by your praise. It's an honor to be your unbeatable lasso champion. Unbeatable, huh? We'll see about that. Hey, Morty, I bet my friend Quinn could beat you in a lasso-off. What? I never lose a lasso-off. You're on. Morty lassos you onto the stage amidst roaring applause. Time for you to prove yourself. If you're lying about being the best, I'll use my lasso to catch you in the act. Welcome in, Deadman. You weren't prepared for this, but life's funny that way, you suppose. Time to perform the ultimate lasso trick. Perform the catch-22, a trick so difficult and paradoxical that it's said to be impossible to pull off by any normal means. Yeah. Nani? You know the salacious exotic art of I actually do. I actually do. In real life. Yes. Dear God, that brings back memories. You see, after I spent summer camp confronting my overly sexualization and lack of emotional depth, I decided my character arc would be learning everything about lasso. So I traveled the world, studying the rope. I sailed on a naval vessel to perfect my knot tying. I wove a rope made of my own hair in Egypt. What? I even spent months lassoing the stars into new constellations atop Mount Olympus. It was a labyrinth journey of self-discovery. But my time in Japan is what I remember most. There I encountered a beautiful courtesan washing a rope. Such strong, supple movements. I fell for her instantly and begged her to teach me all she knew. She begged me to stop talking because she didn't speak English. So until I learned how to say, "wanna get it on" in Japanese, we communicated through the ancient art of lasso. I taught her some of my most sensual tricks, like the one where I lasso my bulge that always kills, and she taught me shibari. I never experienced anything like it before. I've been calf roped by sexy cowboys plenty of times, but this was next level. The weeks I spent with that illustrious woman learning the art of shibari and getting several rope burns on my balls will live in my heart forever. The butt stars also kill me. I love this character. But enough about me. Let's do some shibari. The safe word is papaya. The rest of your plans for the day are put on hold. Hey, 20! You gain 2 hype and lose 2 stamina. That's okay.
I can do it.
We're so fucking close. Not as close as we were getting at the rodeo, but we're close nonetheless. Battle Royale, the odds are not in your favor. Ooh, movie set? Ooh, yeah. What's going down? The money is the worst right now. But stamina could go up, so. Everyone at some point wonders what it's like to be a movie star.
And action.
You still don't know what that's like. You're just a humble road tripper, trespassing on a movie set. But this might be the closest you've ever got to Hollywood, so you make the most of it now. What do you do? Well, I gotta do. Yeah, I get an autograph. Alex, thank you for lurking. You heard that cool Josh The famous actor, singer, songwriter, esports champion, skateboarder, prodigy, and top 10 chess grandmaster is filming on this set. You and your friends obviously need to get his autograph. You sneak on set and find his trailer next to some bushes. Psst, over here. Can anyone else hear that bush talking? I'm no bush. You've just fallen prey to my clever disguise. As the youth say, get wrecked.
Hey!
Oh, hey, Counselor something. I didn't know you worked here. I don't. There's actually a warrant out for my arrest for breaking and entering onto the set. But those cops are no match for my costume kit. Noise. We snuck on set because we heard Cool Josh was filming here. I'm gonna get him to sign my bra. Well, good luck with that, kiddo. I've been trying to show Cool Josh my screenplay all week. It's an autobiographical documentary called Hidden in Plain Sight, and Cool Josh is the only actor who can capture me on screen. Maybe if you kids can get Cool Josh out of his trailer, we can get this project off the ground. Well, you do have a vested interest in me and Cool Josh. Find a way to get him out of his trailer. Lure him out with an Academy Award. Maybe it's not about getting the actor outside the RV, but about getting yourself inside the actor. Inside of his head, you perv. Talk to him. Tensely. Ooh, I feel like this one's more boring. You knock on the door of Cool Josh's trailer. We're with the Academy, here to present Cool Josh with an Oscar. I just need him to come out here and sign these legal documents. Wait, really? That's awesome. An Oscar is the last thing I needed to be at S-tier celebrity status.
What?
S-tier? What's that? You don't know? All celebrities are secretly ranked on a tier list from F to S. It's kind of like the stock market, but with popularity and even less ethical. A C-tier celebrity is lucky to star in a shitty 90s sitcom reboot. A B-tier might get a lead on a made-for-TV drama. But an A-tier? You get big-budget movie contracts, multi-platinum records, and total immunity to being canceled on Twitter. No, you don't. No. Only Oscar winners ever achieve S-tier, though. I've even heard rumors that S-tiers are given their own genetically modified clone from the Academy. That one might be true. So, where's my Oscar? I assume Not As Cool Josh will be delivered in 9 months or so. Oh, your Oscar is this thing. Polly hands Cool Josh one of Scott's weird clay sculptures. Wow, it looks just like me, thanks. Cool Josh signs your paperwork and even gives you a lock of his hair for DNA replication. +2, win. But you lose 2 money, no! Shit, I need money, but clearly, so his cash prize was Oscar. We'll take no for an answer. No, fucking celebrities. Fucking celebrities. I need money. I can't go here, I'll lose money. But that's I'm closing in on hype. Shit. What was that movie even about, Polly? Who knows? I really need money. If it drops too low, I'm gonna be sad. The entire city is protected by a giant, impenetrable wall. Strange. The guards at the gate seem just as surprised to see you as you are to see them. We never had visitors before, they say. How'd you escape the jaws of the something, sorry. You don't really know what they're talking about. You get the impression these villagers don't get out much. Some future investigation of this place is warranted. Do you want to check it out? Yeah, and I need my hype to get up. You find the Capitol building and walk inside. Looks like the village elders are in the middle of a meeting. Howdy, neighbors. I'm Scott. My friend and I are from the outside world, but don't worry, we come in peace. What? The elders cry? But how can this be? The giants killed all the outsiders and destroyed all civilization outside our walls. Nope, we're living proof that didn't happen, if you pardon the expression. No, it is true. The giants are out there. Look, here they come to attack us now. Is this Attack on fucking Titan? You look over the wall to see a cardboard cutout from a giant with a pre-recorded recording playing on a loop. How stupid do you think we are? It's the giants, run for your lives.
No!
Not now, Scott. No, the giants are, they're totally, fuck it, fine. You caught us. The giants are all an elaborate lie. You see, decades ago when we were young rascals, we convinced the best prank we could pull in the entire village. We made some scary cardboard cutouts and convinced everyone that they were under attack by ravenous giants. Now we've been perpetuating the prank for decades. Holy shit. Forever committed to the bit. For you see, we are the prank masters of the Z. What? But we're the prank masters of the Z. You are? How did you young outsiders take up the prank master's mantle? We made it up because pranks kick ass, duh. But now that I think about it, Polly, didn't we get the idea from the name prank masters when we found those old papers full of cool prank ideas? Oh, yeah. I forgot all about that, but I was pretty drunk at the time. And also now. You must have found the prank master's scrolls, says the elders. We found them too, many years ago. It's the legacy of prank masters. Wow. 2 generations of prank masters brought together by total chaotic coincidence. You know what this means, right? We need to combine the prank masters chapters and brainstorm an even cooler prank to play on this village.
Prank masters for life!
You're right. What should we do? The giants have been defeated. They've been turned into cardboards by God. Who's this bowl of lettuce? Abide by the lettuce gods or become cardboard. Tell everyone the time has changed forever. It's now 1 hour ahead for no good reason. Now tell everyone time has changed forever. It's now 1 hour ahead for no good reason. And this will keep happening at least twice a year. And we all must get used to it. That's a pretty sick prank, bruh. The giants have been defeated.
Yes.
Yeah, fake religion pranks are so funny. Everyone's all, no, how could you shatter my worldview? Such a classic. Here, bros. You could use our lettuce for this prank. You'll put it to much better use than we would have. Hey, the lettuce was for my salad. Shh, it's okay, Quinn. You don't need it. It's temporary. Pranks are forever. The next morning, the giants show up again. The villagers are all screaming and fleeting as usual, but then, fear not, puny mortals. Lettuce God is here to save you. Oh boy. Lettuce God is here in the leafy flesh. I love and worship you so hard, bro. Woohoo, go Lettuce God. You the shit. Seriously, this is ridiculous. The villagers protest. A talking bowl of lettuce isn't gonna save us from these beasts. You dare underestimate me, mortals? Then I will prove my power by kicking these giants' asses. Lettuce gods proceed to kick the giants' asses. And by that, I mean that the elder prank master puppeting lettuce god throws the lettuce bowl as hard as he can at the giant's face. The giant falls flat. Holy shit, the villagers marvel. That bowl of lettuce turned the giant into a cardboard cutout just by touching it. You're welcome for saving your puny lives. I ask nothing in return besides your unconditional worship forever. Oh, that's a little sudden. Can we think about it? You dare talk back to Lettuce God? You've seen my power. Bow to me. If you refuse, I'll subject you to the soggy disappointment, one-dimensional horror of being a cardboard cutout. Terrified, the villagers fall to their knees and bow. Many of them are sobbing. Meanwhile, you, Polly, and Scott high five over a prank we pulled. You gain plus. Oh my god, we're so close, y'all. We're so close to winning. Oh my god, stop. We're so close. Hold on. Pet contest? Pet contest. It has the hype. That's it. This is it. Oh, and 1 away from a pit stop. Y'all, we fucking got this. We're gonna have to buy a dog. Our money should be fine. We should be fine. You're surrounded by pets of the highest pedigree. Here to prove that they are the best of the domesticated animal kingdom. But you get pretty impressive good boy off your own who's ready to compete. Aww. You had a pretty impressive good boy of your own. Scott could win this thing. Easy peasy. It might be his first and only chance to actually outsmart his competition. The only question that remains is, what category you want him to enter? I need the hype, Scott. Oh, I need it. You just got into the pet contest. He's very excited about it.
Let's do it.
This will be fun. I just need to transform first. Polly, you still got that picture of a full moon? Oh, I've got a full moon, all right. Peep these cheeks. Fuck yeah. Polly moons you with her bare butt. Fucking that. Whoa, that really worked. I was just messing around. Oh my god, does that mean every time? I want an ass that turns werewolves beastly? Is that the implication? Love. Wow, that really worked.
Woof, woof, woof.
Scott is ready to dominate competition. Who Wolf Scott need to eat? I don't think eating the other competitors is part of it, buddy. According to these flyers, there are actually several different obstacle courses you can choose to compete in. The obstacle courses will engage your pet's muscles and agility. Woo, Scott has muscles. Oh, Wolf Scott has muscles, sorry, I didn't mean to bark. Along with wits, grit, charisma, bureaucratic expertise, and ironclad moral code and full understanding of life and death. Are those other muscles? Never mind. Dang, there's gotta be at least one obstacle course here we can win. And if not, at least that'll be very entertaining to lose. Quinn, which obstacle course would we enter? The trolley course. Your pet will be thrown into impossible moral conundrums. Fuck off with the fucking trolley course shit. The social climbing courses. Overcome social obstacles to be accepted in high society. The permit course. Be ready to get stressed from jumping through several bureaucratic hoops. No. I think... Shit. This one. Okay. Trolley sound fun. Scott like cars and trains. What go wrong? Oh, screaming in pure stress. As trolley barrels down the tracks towards several defenseless people. What do Polly pull over? Shit, I don't know. There's no easy answer. That's why it's a moral conundrum. You can change courses and hit one guy, saving 5 people, but consciously killing one, or you can do nothing and let 5 people die to your inaction. I fucking can't. Wolf Scott, do you believe in inaction equals culpability? Do you believe saving 5 lives is worth sparing 1? No, I believe so. I like the trolley problem is like a whole thing that was like an unethical way to judge. You can't do this anymore. Or I mean, I don't know if like the trolley problem actually still exists, and like there's different levels of like making sure somebody's okay after a like actual like observation slash test of that caliber. But this was highly unethical whenever it was done because people didn't know that they were like people like this is like a blind study kind of thing, which the person doesn't know they're being subjected to that level. They actually think they're killing people, which you can't do that. But I probably would choose the 1, kill 1 to save 5. Like genuinely, we debated that question a lot in college.
What?
Choose something, Scott. Kill 1 guy or kill 5 guys. Scott not good with numbers. 5 is more than 1, right? That's exactly how I look at it. 2 sold, that's fine. That was rough, but the trolley problem was still exciting in its own. Yes! Fuck yeah, we did it! I think we win. Ethics are hard. I mean, shouldn't be, but the conundrum of this trolley problem was hard. How are other pets doing? Check the obstacle course to see an orange cat is competing next. It's riding in the trolley and chooses to run over the 5 people. Then the cat reverses the trolley to go back and hit the remaining person. Cats, am I right? That's it. That's it. Time to stop and get some rest.
Okay.
That's it.
I need 5 minutes.
I don't know what things do. Bus? I don't know what bus is.
I'm not sure where to go.
This is the bus stop. You can either check for hitchhikers to pick up or have a conversation with the one that's already riding with you. Conversations are chill narratives. But I want to win! Cats do repeatedly tread on the tenderest of internal organs. They fucking do. May stomped all over me from the ponytail holder that was on my wrist last night. I don't know what this means. Oh my god, the baby! Calculaster! For 1 week, every turn you'll gain +1 of your lowest stat and lose +1 of your highest. Fuck. For 1 week, every turn you'll gain plus money and lose soul. Well, we do need money, and my soul is at an 8. But I already got hype. Like, I've already done it, right? My hype is good. Where it been? My day is going pretty good. How's your day going? Oh no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do this. You invite Vera to join your road trip.
This car is
Fine, I
not
guess
up
I'll
to my
come.
standards,
But this had better be worth
I
my
guess
precious
it'll
time.
do.
Shady business. But I think we're done. Like, I think, yeah. Have fun at Knifeland. Yay, we did it! Ty, thank you for making me hydrate. We did it. The road trip comes to an end. Knifeland, the land of fun and knives. You ride all the rides twice. They're awesome and deadly in equal parts. Oh, I love this. There's not one, but 2 free falls. Dick Smasher. Oh, stop. Oh, that would hurt so badly. I want to go to Knife Land. There's the pit full of spikes and the guillotine, which let you keep a severed head as a silly memento. There's also the blender, the pendulum, and a volcano. You're still unsure if the volcano was supposed to be a ride or if it was just a random volcano that happens to be there. Stab cam. And there's the murder mansion with actual murder. So much fun. And you never managed to survive. And you even managed to survive, which is a big plus. Knife Land forever. Congrats, you reached a destination. But there's more to it. Every player gets an individual ending. You can end up being a lame loser, just okay, or the MVP. In multiplayer mode, the results will be... In single player mode, it's determined by your overall resource spread. I'll poop. There's also the date ending, which has its own requirements. But the ending, up a lame loser, will override the date ending. No dates allowed for lame losers. Anyway, let's judge you. Oh. Knife Land, at last! For a moment, you were sure you wouldn't make it. This has been a true feat of survival. You almost ran out of money. You survived a coyote attack. You ate a rock. And yet, here you are.
I had it in me.
A more experienced version of yourself. I really love this character a fuck ton. You're stronger, wiser, you're sexier. You could feel it in your blood. Thank you for cross checking me 2 times, I'm so sorry. Although it might be the rock you ate. Welcome to the new Quinn. A new era begins. Wow! 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 Wow? Wow? And just like that, the road trip came to an end. It was full to the brim with danger, fun, and utter nonsense. It was everything we could have expected from a trip with Polly and Scott, and then some. We not only survived the whole thing, but we conquered it and came out different people. It all turned out to be a pilgrimage into self-discovery, a rite of passage, a quest for growth. That is to say, a fucking good road trip. As we were heading back home, I thought about how all of this was just one of the first stops in a much bigger journey that was only just beginning.
Welcome to the streaming version of the Reddit song. My name is Claudia Martinez. Oh yeah. This time they gave me quote unquote total freedom. I didn't want
Aww.
to, so I'll sing what's on the screen.
Aww.
Why is the turtle flipped? Did they flip it back? How's the turtle? Hey, did you leave the turtle in the car? Well, I'm sorry. Yes. The developers asked
This
for
is so good.
things.
I'm sorry about your internet though, Jen. That's so frustrating.
You to leave a good review.
We did good though. I think we did good. I think we won.
In the song, it's well hidden, for you see, I made it fit the
I love these two. I love these two lads. How'd the run go? You punched a magician? We got to look at somebody's. We got to look at a big bull's bulge and watch him lasso it, and then talk about Shibari. So a pretty. And then we went to Knife Land. A pretty good run.
He's the best. 5 stars, 10 out of 10. I could be writing songs all day. Okay, second thing is to tell you the song is safe for streaming.
Oh,
No strikes, no copyright. Careless streaming day and night. Here's some of the things that don't infringe
This
any
is so
kind
cute.
of copyright. Like a lazy orange cat, but his name is Garfield. I hate Tuesdays. Or the work
I hate
of
Tuesdays,
artists
it's
who
good.
died centuries ago.
look at our little. I'm gonna. I want to be this character. Yeah, look exactly. Bulged for free and Shibari, and I missed it. Moon clipped it.
Apple pie, cinnamon swirl, a shovel. Don't ask. Carrots and beets. This is just my
Oh, this is literally like the best fucking game. Oh, I forgot about that character. Oh god, I really liked that character until they were a dickwad.
5 stars, 10 out of 10. Best game ever, I will play it again. Well,
Bless you.
we're done. We sung all the things the developers want.
Moon has clipped some really good ones. Moon is like clip professional. All-time clip monarch. All-time clip monarch. Are you in a cat costume?
So saddled. Please don't mention it.
Aww.
Review, my love. Please leave a good review, my friend. Please leave a good review, my darling.
Artsy Ghost, thank you for lurking.
Stars, 10 out of 10. Best game ever, I will play it again.
Well, yeah, we'll play it again. That was so fucking good. How else can I make shameless squid moments that live rent free in my head? Without the horny sus moments, very true. Cursed blep, whoa. Watch this, ready? I'll blep you. Get fucking blepped. Get blepped. Get blepped, Artsy Ghost. You can now play Prank Master mode. Hey! Yo, that was cool. We fucking did it. We did that. Blep you, sir. Get fucking blepped. And I just hydrated. I hydrated at the same time you made me. Oh my god, what is this magical? Oh, whoops. That makes sense. I don't know what I thought that would do. Oh, we got the little gallery open. Yes, this was our stab cam. Hells yeah. Scott Howell. Cute. This is all so cute. Tide, what are you doing? That was good. That was very good. That was very, very good. I liked it a lot. Well, what do we do now? That was Monster Prom. We could chat. We could sit and chat a bit. We could take a little break and then I could come back. We could come back and sit and chat for a little bit. For some time. For the rest of our little time. But I am going to turn on music and I am going to take a quick break. Boop. There we go. You have a fantastic skill of being fucking the best. Tide skill, being literally the best. Being literally the best. Being literally, I said it, your skill. Being literally the best. Being literally 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's my decision. You've given me this power. You've all given me this power. And now it comes to bite you in the ass because you've given me this power. I know I'm right because it's my decision. I decided I'm right. I'm gonna put words on stream up for y'all real quick while I take a quick little break. I chuckled with my own chuckle. That's true. I was here for it. I witnessed it. Oh my god, we could do more. We could do a little more hand simulator.
Can't let me go.
Running full system diagnostics. Machine status fully operational. System online. All stations are now enabled. Target dog resistance. Operation Overkill.
Hello. Hello, hello. Are y'all doing it? Are y'all fucking doing it? Oh, y'all did so good. Look at y'all go. Loin? Yeah, like loin. I'll let y'all do one more. I wasn't doing a TikTok during the break. I would never. I don't know what I want to listen to. I want maybe this one. Hold on. Yeah, this one's good. Oh no. Oh, we're dropping some frames. Did the TikTok make the TikTok? Not yet. It's about to. God, I feel like I fucking pulled something. I had to do a little stretch anyway, a little midstream stretch. A little stretch. My small cat is awake. Hi, small cat. Oh my god, she's so tiny, y'all. She's so adorable. Oof, okay. Oh, I see it's bouncing a little bit. Sometimes, so we've actually learned that the words are things that people have sent in or something like that. It's like pulled from a database of things that people can send in words. So that's why you're like, why the fuck is this word not here? And like somebody's name is here. That's why. It's really weird. Just a little stretch as a treat, a little stream stretch. Just a quick one, because I want to do more TikToks tonight, but I feel like I want to keep up with, I want to just like do more. I don't know why we're still here. Good job, y'all did so good. I know it says game over, but that's okay. TikTok, or not TikTok, fucking words on stream is so mean sometimes. But I'm trying to be a good boy and trying to sorry, that was too much in y'all's face. I'm trying to be a good boy and trying to do some TikToks that I don't hyper fixate on and try to go extremely hard on, because I got myself into a rut of just not posting because I was focusing so hard on like, oh well, it wasn't perfect, this take wasn't perfect. And sometimes you just want to throw up. Sometimes you just want to throw up a like dog shit level of an attempt of a video and be proud of that dog shit attempt, which is so valid. That's content creation in a nutshell. The algorithm will not be will play games with you anyway, so. Oh, is the music too loud or is it good? Sometimes done is better than perfect. Yeah, just big real energy. Sometimes done is better, because you can always do more. Like I feel like I honestly like genuinely I feel like that's one of the biggest things that has helped me get out of like my creator ruts, or like when I get into a rut of like, oh my god, I'm not putting anything out, is sometimes done is better than perfect, and sometimes you just gotta send something because you're just sitting and waiting in like this like weird little limbo purgatory with content. I don't know where my cat went. I'm really scared. She's like the night. I try to light the room up. She's gone. She's still gone. Doesn't matter. She's somewhere. She's a little void in the night. If you keep revising, it might turn out worse than, yeah, exactly. Things don't always have to be the most like lit or like fancy like levels of editing and shit. That's what I'm trying to squish my perfectionism, because that's exactly where I'm getting myself into as well. I'm a perfectionist at heart, and I've not posted something that I think people would have actually genuinely liked because of it. I gotta work on. That's part of my stuff that I'm working on. Crystal balls? Wait, I did not read that fully. If it's not exactly how I see it in my head, yeah. Cursed little balls, but me. I like cursed little balls. Oh my god, I gotta upload. I don't think it'll handle uploading the pod with me actively on. So I'll be, actually let me make sure. I'm gonna go check that real quick while I'm on with everyone. Yeah, one way to find out. I guess I could give it a go, and if it crashes my computer, then it crashes my computer, and I hope y'all have a good night. I'm gonna take a small hit. Small. We still got slight coughs, so we haven't been doing a lot. But a little as a treat because I did the thing. We got with somebody today. We got with no, we didn't get with anybody. We just won. We won the road trip. Damn, okay, I still don't know why my microphone's doing that. But let me see if it's gonna crash on us real quick. If I try to do me and Grob's thing. I should have gotten an email that my clip is ready to download. Review and publish. Thank you, Ty. Let's hope it doesn't crash. Ah, it's fine. It's not gonna crash. It might crash. It's not gonna crash while downloading it to my computer. Okay, we're gonna do a post. I'm posting because I want to.
Don't make me laugh.
Oh, don't make noise, TikTok. That would be a bad time. Don't do that. Yeah, the uploading is where it actually might have the issue. But I'm gonna put my media in since I did just post on the stuff. You don't have to check it out. It is my spicier account, so if you are not one to want to see the spicier stuff, then that's okay. Not the spicy. Not the spicy, just the second TikTok. The thirst trap. The TikTok account made for solely thirst traps, if we're being honest. Ow. Spicy, you say? Jen, did you change your name? Or did you change the color of your name? I like it. I like the green. Trying to throw me. Yeah, that one. Not the one that I just posted. It might not even be up yet. I might have. Yeah, that's a thing. Streamers see you trying to trick me with your name color change. Can't trick me. No, I'm just kidding. That's I don't think it actually made it on any episode yet of the podcast, but me and Grob had a whole podcast where we talked about how it throws it, like there's no reason for it to, and for please change the color of your thing if you have a color you vibe with more. Don't change on our chords. But it is such a thing that the change of the color of a name, like sometimes I've gotten actually like just last night, friend of the stream, Gabraham and Dank were in stream at the same time, and their color of their names are so close, like they're both a purple. So when I went back and watched my VOD to save it because I need to upload it to Quinvodable, I didn't even realize. I thought I was talking to Gabe the whole time. I think I was also trying to show wife something, but I thought I was talking to somebody the whole time because I was like, oh, purple. Did you get moon? What that? Wait, what? Wait, how? How'd you pull shenanigans? In these pants, yeah, in the pants. I also like my outfit today. I'm also vibing with it. It's skulls! Did you fuck with somebody? Did you change the colors of the names? That's so me. Huh. My shoe untied. You all change your name, the colors every message? That's mean. Nasty. I must get out after a tragic butt whooping in Genshin. Bye, Skylar. Thank you for being here. I hope to see, hopefully now that my schedule is more bouncy, like more like I'm kind of just gonna stream whenever, which might include some nights now. Hopefully I have more time to hang out with everyone, with all of you. Yeah, sorry. I'm feeling the hit all just like that. But it was good to see you, friendo. But yeah. Also, I have vapor rub on my desk, and I'm gonna smell it because it's lavender, and this is the only thing that got me through the week of being sick. And I can't like not have it now. Like I feel like I'm weaning myself off of Vicks vapor rub. Also, I'm not gonna eat it, but it looks really tasty. I can't be the only one to think that. Please tell me I'm not. It looks tasty, right? Like it looks like you don't munch it. It's poisonous to put it into your body. Like internally. But like it looks so shiny and so silky. This is high energy coming out because I'm just staring at the shines, but it smells good. And I feel like I can't live without it because I was sick and it literally opened every bit of my airways so I could breathe. Tasty? It looks like a gelatinous mess. No! Oh god, fuck shit. It looks like, what is Jello? I assumed you meant man. My fucking autocorrect tries to make me a transphobic little asshole sometimes because I'll go to put ma'am and it'll switcheroo it. I know that. I know that pain. Fucking autocorrect. I don't need autocorrect to correct me on that. but it do, alas. Eucalyptus or 99% rubbing alcohol will do the trick. Oh, I love eucalyptus and rubbing alcohol smell too. But this you can slather on your chest. Not a sponsor. Just smells nice. Have you ever wanted to know what chalk tastes like? A little bit, yeah, actually. Like, ooh, it's kind of that feeling, that grittiness on my teeth that, like, I can't bear to think about happening. But also, will it just be like astronaut food level of texture? Like, like freeze-dried stuff? Like if you go... There's edible... So, if I didn't say this, we are back with soft giving this year. By the way, sorry, I didn't mention that. I don't know if I've mentioned that yet. But we're back with soft giving, which is the charity organization we do charity events for. I could put edible chalk as a thing. But we're doing 2 charity events this year. Now that I'm talking about it, I guess we're doing 2 charity events this year. We'll probably I don't think my thing is technically started yet. To do it, like we're not in the go right now portion of doing stuff. I think I'll probably do one for our big Christmas charity event like we usually do, and then the other one will be done anytime several months before that. So like December, probably like weekend right before Christmas will be one of them. I don't know what organizations we're raising money for. I will probably go back to doing either trans empowerment or Hope for the Day, which is the 2 that I really, really like. Or I might pick a completely new one since we did those last time. But it kind of depends. It depends on whatever I could do. But October. We'll probably do one in October. October and December, or probably either October or September. We could do like a spooky little charity event. And then Christmas. It's such a good song. I don't know what else. I feel like every time I like just around and about my usual day, I'm like, I need to remember things to tell chat. I need to remember things to talk to y'all about that has perturbed me, disturbed me, intrigued me throughout my day, and then I forget every time we get here. Do we have any housekeeping stuff? I haven't asked that in a very long time. If we have any housekeeping stuff that I need to take a look at, let me know. Or if anybody needs a, what the fuck do you do now? What is your schedule? How are you doing things? Questions? Ask them. I need to take voice notes. Is there like a little app to do that type? Or just hitting record on the phone? I've straight up, I will take little videos of chat if I need to remember things that y'all told me to do, but I haven't thought about doing voice to like remember. Yeah. Aw. What about how my day is going? Oh my goodness. My day is actually going pretty well. Getting fucking better and better from being sick. And actually getting to go back to making content is really nice. Oh, how do you do the what you're feeling after your appointment times? Oh yeah, like after my iron stuff, I actually feel, I don't know if I'm just looking at it or if I'm like trying to see it, but I actually feel pretty fucking good. Like I know it's only like appointment 1. I have 3 more appointments to go. So for the next 4 weeks, once a week, I will go in and get iron injected into me. It was really sad. I got really too scared the first time I went in, and I should have eaten a much better breakfast than I did. So when I went in, we actually had to stop treatment like halfway through, and I had to like go. The doctor came in and like checked me out, and was like, "You're clammy. You should probably stop and probably go grab some food. Also, don't look at the needle next time, especially if you have a fear and hard time with needles." And I was like, yeah, I thought I was safe. I thought that after like I got stuck with it, that then I could look, and I was sorely mistaken. Have we considered doing a Quinn Minecraft server? Yes, a bajillion %. We have discussed it before. I don't know if we've talked about fully doing it. I probably won't start it, if I do start one, until the new server, until a new Discord server, because that's where we would start with putting it. I also don't play Minecraft a lot. I'm a creative boy, not a survival boy. But everyone in my polycule loves fucking Minecraft. I use the notes app. Note app for nonsense. Mini Jedi, thanks for follow. But I do feel better. I do genuinely feel, I'm feeling good. I don't know if I'm just like trying to feel it or trying to like look for it, but I'm feeling a little bit better today. Did they let you bring the stitch? No. Also, I thought about it. I took as little into the doctor as possible. I left all my bags and stuff with wife, because I didn't want to bring it into the doc. We had just gotten sick. I didn't want to pick anything else up in the doctor's office. If I would have brought Stitch in, Stitch would not have come back in the house. It's a polycule. It's like a legal requirement to love Minecraft, isn't it? You right. All of my polycule are badasses and play survival, and I always get way too angry with survival. Iron deficiency can be really serious. Just getting the initial boost might be enough to get you on track of feeling better. Yeah, and just after one, I already, like, that day, I noticed, I don't know if this is a thing, but I was assuming maybe iron levels going up, maybe my, like, something with my oxygen or blood might be going up too. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But the tips of I noticed, like, an hour after I did it, I came back to lay down and rest for the day, and the tips of my hands and fingers were warmer than they usually are. I usually have super cold tippies, and footies. Don't worry, it's not foot. It's covered foot. And I was like, could it be? I was like, could it be from the iron? Am I just thinking that? Am I just imagining it, or could it be? I do love Minecraft. I watch Hermitcraft. I love watching the Hermitcrafts. I watched their extended life ones as well. I learned about Hermitcraft recently, like a year ago, because of my wife. And I was like, oh my god, this is cool, and then watch all of their shit. So I love Minecraft. My polycule is so much better at the survival, and I get way too fussy, and the things that I want to keep on, most of them are server based versus individual based. Like, I would want to keep inventory on because I don't like losing my inventory when I play games like that, because then you just have to get more to get back to the point. It makes me frustrated and I don't like playing it. But if we turn keep inventory on for me, the whole server would have it. So like you can't do if it could just be on me, it'd be much easier, but ow, sorry, something poked me in the gums. Yeah, I do. I have an iron deficiency. I just actually learned recently that I have an iron deficiency and I'm anemic after years of trying to have the doctors telling doctors what I was going through and having them not know what it was. It was what I thought all along. It's important that for every 2/3 crazy survival resource cave goblins, there's a creative being who will make the place they make for materials pretty and worth coming back to. Exactly, that's my part. I made an entire stained glass rainbow fucking flag one time in Minecraft creative. Oh dang. It's the fact of the person that was giving me the iron treatment was so nice. I went back and I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna look at the needle, and she talked me through it and she was like, very important minerals, these are good for you. And I was like, I know, I need those. My body has, I would like to say, and I quote from my doctor whenever I went in to talk about the treatment, my body has no iron. Didn't tell, just imagine getting that from your doctor. Imagine your doctor looking down at your paper, looking down at the screen and just going, oh, you have no iron. Imagine getting "Oh," from your doctor, and then a concerned look. I didn't like that. Treatments are generally for seriously low deficiencies. And you'll typically you just get recommended a supplement. Yeah. So, there is like over-the-counter stuff. Actually, my therapist, before I went to the doctor and got like formally diagnosed and had them like read my levels, my therapist was telling me about a iron builder supplement that she uses, that a lot of times iron supplements like orally done, like the ones you take through your mouth hole, upset stomachs. She takes something called blood builder, which has a good amount of iron but also other stuff to kind of balance it out. And also from knowing from the doctor, and actually from her, she told me too, that drinking a glass of orange juice before taking iron stuff can actually help improve it get into your system. But there's also ones that are just prescribed, not the like chewies that you get from like, you know, from just your average pharmacy. There's also, like, I was taking for like a week or two the iron supplements that the doctor prescribed me, like a higher dose of iron supplements. So before I could get in with a specialist, and then they offered me the treatment I'm actually doing now, which is, sorry if it's like little medical gross times real quick, but it's just essentially going in, getting like an IV, and then they just slowly like fucking mainline that shit. I get a bronze/black tube of liquid just like pumped into my blood. It's so badass. It's so cool. But yeah, they have that, or at least that's the one I'm doing for like seriously low deficiency. 0 and they missed that. That's what that's what I'm saying. But also, we think that back in the day, like back when I was younger, due to like many things in my environment, we think I was eating more iron rich stuff. The deficiency was still pretty bad, and there's no reason a doctor should miss it. But I was eating like way more red meat and stuff like that might have like just barely put it out of a like worrisome range, if that makes. They still shouldn't have missed it. It like still was so way too low. But changing my diet is probably why it's gotten so much worse, because I don't eat a lot of red meat anymore and stuff like that. I took that out of my diet completely. I eat a lot of like turkey and fish, and then like impossible meats. So we were thinking that the reason it's gotten worse and worse over the years is because I've just done less. Thank you for making me hydrate. Yeah, how dare you fucking miss 0? It's a big old goose egg where there's supposed to be something. Yeah. Yeah, also the infusions, I'm not going to take them all the time. For anybody else who's like curious about it, I'm not going to take them all the time, at least now, not now. It's mainly because it's a quicker way of getting levels back up so then they can be maintained. I still have other things and reasons why I have to handle other things to kind of help fix or better maintain my levels without having to go in weekly and get injections. I've gotten that multiple times. I've been guinea pig because I don't care if you. Oh shit, yeah. I actually had an intern in for my stuff. It was really cool. Aw, thanks for using your Prime. You could have used it anywhere and you used it here on me to fuel my shenanigans. What the fuck did you do that for? But thank you. Enjoy your emotes and pancakes. Y'all, I can't do any more emotes. I think all of our emote spots are fucking slotted up. I hadn't had issues with my heart until I stopped drinking soda. Started eating healthier and exercising regularly. Feels real backwards. It fucking does. It does fucking feel really fucking backwards. That's exactly what I was thinking. And exactly what I said whenever I was like, oh, sorry, I'm eating better now. I'm eating less red meat to help my fucking cholesterol. How dare me try to do better? Aw, thanks, Rondo. I'm glad you enjoyed my TikTok too. I'm really honored. TikTok's a real fun time. Also, pronoun check. If you're comfortable putting your pronouns in chat, do so. Mine are he, him. But actually, I learned that, like, also for anybody that might be curious, when I talked to my doctor, they mentioned things like pica related things. Like, I chew on ice all the time. My doctor mentioned that is actually a symptom from my low iron deficiency. People who like eat dirt, it's all about getting the minerals. Your body is trying to seek out that mineral. And so whenever my doctor sat across from me in the doctor's room, as doctors do, and went, have you been dizzy and passing out? Have you had very low energy? Do you eat ice? You could imagine the like slap across my face of like, ice? No doctor has ever asked me about eating ice. And I was like, yeah, I used to eat ice all the time, and I still do. And they were like, it's weird. It's weird all the things that you don't realize could be something that you just wouldn't think. Which, like, I don't want to say, like, if you like eating ice, it doesn't necessarily mean you have an iron deficiency. But it might be. It might be related. May, what are you doing? Hey. I don't know what that cat's doing, y'all. She's being weird. If you had told me you chew ice regularly, I could have told you that's an iron deficiency symptom. Oh, dang. I didn't know that. Bonkers. Stags. Hi, friendo. How you doing? I feel like my music could be a little louder. It's so, eating ice, or chewing on ice, eating ice, and eating dirt is a common symptom of individuals with iron deficiencies. It's because you're trying, as my doctor explained it, it's your body's like fail-safe. It's trying to get that mineral in there where it's not. Which again, it doesn't have to mean it, but if you chew ice pretty regularly and you feel like you like can't help but go for something like that, then might be worth bringing it up to your doctor. What's the worst they do? Check your blood levels, and then either it's there or it's not, but at least you've checked it. Because seriously, there's so many symptoms that I had been to cardiologists, I had been to several other specialty doctors, I had been to every doctor trying to figure out all the symptoms that have just been mainly because of my iron deficiency and anemia. That's like a thing. There's like a thing for like being anemic with an iron deficiency. But yeah, there's so many things. My heart palpitations, when the doctor asked me if I had ridiculous heart palpitations, that one got me too. The ice and the heart palpitations, I was like, fuck yeah, my heart palpitations has been slowly worsening actually over the years. And he was like, oh, really? Oh my god, fucking Freud. Fucking Freud in this chat. I hate Freud. I hate Freudian shit. So that's my salty psychology student energy. I have to hate Freud. I have a bachelor's in psychology. I literally got the I'm gonna get in shape bug and my body just said no. It makes me so salty. There's nothing wrong with just going to the doctor for a checkup. Yeah, even if there's nothing wrong, gotta keep the vehicle tuned up properly, right? Same thing with therapy. Like, you gotta keep things like tuned up and doing good before they start crashing and failing. Then it's harder. Check your vitamin D. That's such a big one. I know I'm deficient in vitamin D. So me and my wife have been trying to get like just over the counter little vitamin D supplements, but like having a vitamin D deficiency just as bad as iron. Like, I mean, I don't know about in like a medical sense, but like I've heard literally nothing but is your vitamin D low? Is your iron low? There's one other one that's like an important fucking like mineral, but if it's deficient, if it's low, fucks with your sleep, fucks with your mind, fucks with literally everything, physically and mentally. B12, I think I was deficient in B12. I think I was the same way, Stacks. I know I have an iron deficiency and a vitamin D deficiency now, and I was pretty certain about B12. Yeah, your muscles, brain, all of it. May, you are so stinky, bro. I'm lighting a candle because my cat takes the nastiest shits. Why are you like this? I already have a candle going. You are a two-candle cat tonight. A two-candle cat, my love. Drop it. Here, go. I don't know. Did it. Hey, where are you? She's going to eat because she fucking, oh no, tragic, fucking shit. Damn it. Yes, as a psychologist and a little fruity, all of our jobs is to hate Freud. Man was coked out weirdo obsessed with dick. He absolutely was. He coined that fucking talk therapy shit too, but like, it's not how it is anymore. Also, he was highly unethical. Dude definitely thought it was okay to fuck his clients. Like, terrible individual. Ace Hood, hi! Oh yeah, vitamin D, all of that shit. Muscles, joints, bones, all of it. Haven't seen you in a while. Made a little funny. Wait. Made a little funny with a black goop, and I didn't. Oh, do you think I was being insensitive? Wait, what? What, Val? Also, hi, friendo. How have you been? What? I just found out that my got a girlfriend. Whoa! Congratulations on love. Freud is a got LMAO. JK. I was about to say, don't even. You gonna get yeeted so fast. Sorry, I'm going back up and I saw vitamin D's nuts, and that's really fucking good, and you deserve a round of applause, Jen. Good job. Good job. Good job. Vitamin D's nuts is so good. Oh, Venom. Oh, like the character? I'm so sorry. I took a hit. I'm a little high. It's going right over my head if it is. D's nuts didn't go over my head though. No, they slapped me right in the face. As they should. But yeah, no, it's important. Go talk to Dr. Times about things like that. You would never think to check them, but like, I don't know. You want to get ahead of it if something is wrong before having to do like more intense things. Because like the thing that I have to do isn't necessarily that intense or that bad. It's just it's a IV in a 5-minute thing. But if you do those things, make sure you eat beforehand, like really well, and don't look at the needle. Also, yeah, I was gonna say, also, there's so many, like, vitamins fuck with shit. Hey, don't eat my towel. Hey! I just looked up, my cat is just chewing my towels. Why? That can't be good for your mouth hole. Ew, why are you like this, bruh? Get out of here. Fucking gross. Can I ask what you're talking? Oh, yeah, sorry. We were talking about, my recent treatment that I started with at my doctor for iron deficiency, and we were talking about how like the doctor was asking me me questions that I had never had a doctor ask, like, do you chew ice, or do you eat dirt, or do you do anything like that? And he asked about like specific things that I just like was baffled to be asked, because I had never been asked that, and it hit so like right, just like on the money, and there were all symptoms that were actually for my low iron and my anemia, not for like all the other things that I was going to the doctor for. One of my meds causes a vitamin D deficiency, and no one told me that. It's the fact there's so much that vitamins and like certain things can mess with so many medicines. Like vitamin C, really important for me to drink before I do my iron stuff because it helps the iron take better with my body. You know what vitamin C also fucks with? Adderall or any other mental health medication. Most mental health medications, vitamin C heavily fuck with it. So it's like a weird little dance of have vitamin C for one medication, wait enough time that the vitamin C is no longer an issue or no longer a worry when taking my other medication for the day that it'll cancel out. It has been a weird couple days. Me and my wife have been sick for like 2 weeks. This is the first time I've actually gotten to sit and chat with y'all for a moment. Oh wait, I was gonna see if I could download or if I could upload to Resting Twitch Face my YouTube. Y'all want me to pop it in chat? I'll pop it in chat because we don't have it anywhere else right now. But I started a podcast with the absolutely wonderful Grob. Oh, my headphones are dying. That's what that is. Yeah, go for it. Ask all the questions. Hopefully my headphones don't die. If they do, I'm sorry. I will say, I've been undiagnosed ADHD for all of my existence. And I have tried everything from just like managing things in my day-to-day to taking things like Adderall. I don't take medication for it anymore because it was just better for me. It messed with way too much. It messed with me way too many other ways for me to continue it. And I got a little bit better about managing things about my ADHD, but that's it. That's my whole journey with it. Also, did I see you said Pattery, Pat, did I see you sub? I'm so sorry. Thank you for subbing. Thank you for using your Prime if I didn't say that. I'm so sorry. You're wonderful. Oh wait, sorry. I was dropping the link to Resting Twitch Face. Enjoy your emotes pancakes. Also, this is Resting Twitch Face. This is my YouTube channel with the Grob. I was gonna see if I could upload a video while being live. So if it starts going wonky, we'll raid somebody, and it'll just look skippy, or I'll stop it. I'm actually uploading the next episode right now. It's me and Grob talk about the beginnings of our YouTube, the beginnings of our streaming careers and why we became content creators and why we became streamers and all the games that we played up until what we do now. And it was really interesting. We've talked about it several times before, none of them that actually made it to air. So we thought, why not kick it off with a hefty shot and a good old trip down memory lane. Is it gonna let me? I mean, it's uploading right now and everything seems fine. I guess? Is it good? There's no way. It's probably gonna take forever. Nuh-uh, you're not gonna take 6 minutes to upload. You're lying if you think 6 minutes. My ass, YouTube. A lie. I'm a fellow adult living with ADHD and was medicated as a kid, but got rid of using it when I turned 18. What are some things that help you recenter if you lose your focus? So, I wish I knew of the best ways, or any ways, that way I could also use them. I think keeping lists has been a big thing. I know everyone always talks about, like, everyone says keep a list and it's hard to keep a list, and it is hard to keep a list for X amount of time, but if I can make a list, it really does help. Do I stick to that all the time? No, I have ADHD. I can't remember to sit down and do half the things I have to do regardless of sitting down and making a list. But if I get on top of doing lists really do help me, at least with like the big picture stuff of I really need to do this week. If I write that, I actually me and wife put up a chalkboard wall so I could grab a marker and just run up and write it. Like, it doesn't have to be a fancy book made with fancy things. It's just literally I write on my wall of like, oh my god, I have to do this, or leaving little like sticky notes around my house for like checking in on things. I tried a bunch of apps like a bunch of like timer apps of do this at this time. Never followed through with them. It's too much effort. I don't know. I think my struggle with my own mental health, especially like my executive dysfunctioning and ADHD, has been just being kinder with myself. Like, after trying all of the lists and all of the journals and all of the this and that people tell you to do, but they don't actually, it's hard to actually stick with them. I think I've just learned to be a lot kinder to myself and a lot more patient with myself when I do fuck something up or I do forget something. Obviously I don't want to, and I try to keep everything centered, but I'm a busy lad, and so are y'all. Not lads, but you're busy peeps. I have a few ideas and been working on it, but always looking for new chances to expand my toolbox. Yeah, we have a couple articles in the Discord that talk about stuff. Again, I get leery with articles because it's always people without ADHD. It's the same thing when you Google fucking why do I feel like this, and the internet tells you don't be stressed, and you're like, great, thanks, don't be stressed, got you. Oh, Tide! Ah, thank you! I should putting it as that works too. Yeah, if you're stressed, just don't be stressed. Why are you stressed? Don't be. But no, I've just become much more patient with myself. And I'll leave sticky notes, and I have good peeps in my life, like my partners, who like we try to remind each other every now and again. That's why we have a motivation station in our Discord, if that's just somewhere to put things to, like, if anybody's around, being an accountability buddy for the day, like that kind of stuff. I also used to just give myself rewards for doing things through the week. So like one day a week I'd be like, okay, what do I gotta do? And then if I did it, maybe halfway through or whenever I finish the thing, it'd be like, oh, me and my wife get to order food tonight. You know, something that's like, well, yeah, I want to order food. I don't want to cook. Cooking is a lot. This is energy. So if I could just order like an extra Taco Bell for the week, then yeah, I'll do my shit. Well, I'm also redoing my Discord. It's gonna be fabulous. It's gonna be fantastic. I'm gonna try to bring a lot of things over from the old stuff. So if you have articles and stuff like that, plop it in the article resource area, because I'll try to at least get that area moved over to the new Discord when it happens. It is not happening yet. That's a far time off. Right? It's a grand idea. Oh, like charms. I've seen that too. I used to like just have a jar. You know those like fish tank pebbles? Those like just little like things that you usually find at the bottom of a fish tank. I had a whole bag of those, and I would just put a glass bowl on a counter and then drop a pebble in for when I did something. My fourth? Damn. I'm down to take any advice anybody has. If anybody has suggestions, especially for the new Discord coming and how I can go about designing it or making it as like interactive and fun as possible, and like let me know in my old one, which is the only one right now. It's gonna be confusing. Yeah, you get yourself a little treat. I am so driven by treats. I'm driven by treats and fucking rewards all day, every day. It's the only way I do anything. But yeah, if anybody has any suggestions, I have a whole suggestion area in my Discord. Plop it on in there. I want to make the new Discord as fucking dope as I possibly can. I want to make it as, like I said, as interactive, as helpful, as I want that to be the home base for the community. This and Twitch and Discord being the, like, Twitch is where I get to actually talk to y'all because I have TikTok, OnlyFriends, and YouTube. I can't really have a certain level of interaction of getting to talk to everyone, like outwardly talk like this, like face to face. I know like y'all are texting and messaging, but like I can get my word out a lot quicker. And then Discord just being where we collectively come at any feral points of the time and share something or check on our peeps. I think the charms would work for me because I want to get the stuff off my wrist. That too. Look, that's always a good objective. If you're not rewarding yourself, doing a little positive punishment, removing the thing that you don't want. Instead of negative punishment would be like, you don't want to do negative punishments. Positive punishments are taking away a negative thing. And then positive rewards and negative rewards. Negative rewards, I'm sorry, it's little lessons with Quinn. Negative rewards, introducing something that is not favored, and then obviously positive rewards is just like getting a thing that you want. Yeah, I already have a million ideas I would like to use in mind, but will gladly offer them to you as well. Hells yeah, I'm appreciative and honored. Also, somebody, hi, how are you doing, friendo? I am. I'm taking y'all back to Psych 101. It's always look, I didn't spend thousands on a degree to not use it. I'm a Twitch streamer now. You will get all of my unasked for psychology information. I gotta do something with my degree, people. Come on. Have you heard of treat myself first, then bills? I have not. I have that issue. Oh, like, oh, yeah. Like doing treats, but then not having. Yeah, I'm usually a very worried money boy. Like constantly, I just constantly have like money fear, and like anxiety around it, and like trying to save, because I mean, family just pushed for like save everything, you know, and never being able to treat yourself. But the other end is, okay, we need to rein the treating in back a little bit, because we need to do things we have to. I love psychology. Psychology's wonderful. Psychology's a good time. I'm glad I ended up taking it. Base degree using. I want to go into psychology, but I also want to go into aerospace engineering. Damn. I was gonna say, I don't know how easy it would be to like either, number one, it's not easy to double major, but I don't know if like there's like a minor that would go with your stuff, engineering versus psychology. But did I miss any Freud hate? Nah, we're talking a little psychology, but we will, it's forever assumed that I hate Freud. Can I contribute? Yes. Yes, you can. Yeah, we circled back to psych talk. I in a little bit am going to probably have a drink with my wife and make some food with her. That was a good idea. That sounds good. It's very flawed. I literally do it as my job. Oh, Jin, I was saying how I was giving all the useless. Oh, Jin, fuck. I was going back to like positive and negative punishments and positive and negative rewards. And somebody said taking us back to Psychology 101, and I was like, yeah, I gotta do something with my degree. Anything. I'm a Twitch streamer now, so y'all get all of my useless psychology information. Go get some food. Thank you so much for being here. Food is important. Again, teaching the Pavlov to the masses, eh? God, Can I share something with y'all? It's so funny. We think it's funny now. We laugh about it. I totally Pavloved my wife back in the beginning days of my psychology learning. I used to do like a little clicker and then give her a mint. Very Office style. I think I literally watched The Office and was like, what if I do that? What if I try that? And then my fucking college psychology brain was like, what if I do that? It was really funny. She caught on not as quickly as I thought she would. But I did Pavlov my wife a little bit. I was like, there's no way. I was like, this is a TV. It worked a little bit. Yeah, of course. Have a good night. Have a good rest of your time. We also have a food section in our Discord that you can totally plop down food things that you make. I have a friend who I went to college with, considered aerospace engineering. Didn't go for it because of a rather cynical take of theirs. Oh, really? Yes. Then learning such, yeah. So rather than doing, I forgot to do this, I did this thing. Awesome. Very treat time. I trained dogs for 4 years. I have a very different association with that sound. You cannot clicker train me. I am clicker proof. My wife is not clicker proof. She can be clicker trained very easily. and she absolutely, I am 1000% allowed to say this. But basically, they didn't want to spend years designing a single bolt. Oh no. I don't know much about aerospace engineering. Immediately when it goes into my brain, I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking scary. That sounds like a big words. Oh, you did a psych law degree and specialized in criminal law. Oh, that's what, oh my god. I think we talked about this before, Jen, but like I either wanted to do depression and anxiety for adolescents, or which would just be like a clinical therapist, or I wanted to do criminal. I wanted to like go in and be the one that sits with people in like a trial setting and like do the whole thing. So many criminal and psych majors. Birds of a feather flock together. Did I bleach my hair? I did. Actually, y'all, did y'all know? Do y'all want to see the last color? I know I've been promoting it on TikTok, or I've been like being sneaky about it on TikTok, but I actually think I'm gonna do the last hair color tonight. Where is it? Hold on, let me find it. I don't think I've showed you. Y'all get to know because you're here. But you, detective, then was a detective for 2 years. Oh my god, you're living my dream, Jen. So I have some great knowledge, rather, rattling around. Oh my god, please. I'll make a whole psychology corner in the new Discord. But I did bleach my hair. I got it pretty silver white, and then I will be doing blue black on the roots. It's like fucking jet fucking black with like blue hue. Ooh, like at the roots. I don't know how I'm not gonna get it on the rest of my hair and keep it only on my roots. Like I'm a little confused at that, because I don't want it to look weird. I want it to look like ombre-ish. Ombre, that's not a word. Ombre. What was I thinking? I was thinking of something. But I'm so excited. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be, I'm rocking this for a bit because it took a really long time to get here to get this like solid white color, and I don't want to fuck it up yet. But we'll probably do it tonight. Listen to my wise 25-year-old self. Do not dual major / dual degree. It's a hellscape. Pick one you prefer, then experience the elements you thought about doubling later. You'll be less burnt out and might find something better along the way. Agreed. And if you do, I would suggest minoring or doing something that already gets close to your degree. So like instead of dual majoring two different things, or even things like dual majoring is a fucking like just misery time, or double majoring. But what I did towards the end that I ended up stopping because it wasn't really gonna benefit me anyway, was I minored in something that was really close to my degree. Unless one of those majors is language, yeah. Or if you're if you're sure you can handle the workload, but like don't, don't. Also, thank you for lurking, Doom. It was good to see you, friendo. It's a lot of money and it's a lot of time.
Running full system diagnostics.
I can't remember, but have you seen my No, I have not.
Machine status fully operational.
Uni has a ton of overlap between majors. It's easy to add, but the difference for job / grad school, major versus major plus minor versus double major is not that great. Yeah. And also, like, it really, really, really depends on what you're doing for work, I think. Like, if it really goes hand in hand where you think it'll give you a leg up in your field, then it might be beneficial, but, like, just doing it to do it, maybe not so much. Math double major would have been, like, 2 more courses, but I was advised that it wasn't worth it. Yeah, because a lot of people, double majoring or dual or majoring plus a minor, people think, oh my god, it's gonna look so much better on resumes, but like that's not the case unless it goes really hand in hand with the job that you were seeking. But even then, it's like when they like, oh god, it feels similar to whenever they told you all the shit would matter going from like high school to college and none of that shit mattered. Like, nobody fucking cares about your GPA. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I don't know about the UK system. I was gonna say, I didn't see. Oh god, this song is so loud. I love it, but it's really loud. It's loud. Also, it's about time for me to go. Also, yeah, there's probably like there's stuff that like schools that are like specialized in programs and stuff like that. But like just if you like have a plan going in with it, I wouldn't just pick. I wouldn't just pick to dual major. I would really need like a solid plan going in, and even then, like I don't know, take like a year to figure out what you really want to do. That's my shtick with college is take a year, figure out what you want to do, and then do it. And if you want to dual major, do it. But be prepared going in. Look at the coursework, beginning to end. Sit down with a guide, a person, and really ask yourself if it is a worthwhile time. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of time. It's a lot of stress. Whoa! I knew a guy who was going for triple major. What the fuck? Physics, bio, and is it criminal science or computer science? Big thing people care about over here is what you studied, what the overall grade was. Damn! This bop is called Epic. I don't know why it's incorrect in the little thing up there, but it's Epic by Tokyo Machine. It was whack. It did not work out that way, but they gave it a good run for like 2.5 years before dropping one of those. Yeah! Hells yeah. That's a lot. I was on a physical therapy course. I was doing like biology shit, I think, and then I was like, haha, no, there's too much physics here. And I can't do math. I also can't test take because I have testing anxiety. And like I'm so bad with tests. I don't know, like I finished college with a relatively high GPA and worked my ass off for it and did really good for it. But like I do recommend taking as many credits as they let you take. Taking the minimum can handle taking the minimum versus maximum costs the same. Yeah, so might as well max it if you can handle the load. That's a good point. Yeah, though that path is not for everyone, for sure. Yeah. No, I feel that, Jen. I get so spicy. Sometimes I'm like, am I getting too spicy on stream? Am I getting too obvious about it? But no, they can, like, I'll be obvious about the important topics that need to be raged against until my channel is taken from me. Because I'm a spicy boy and a lot's going on in the world. Okay, let's see. I am, oh my god, I can't believe resting Twitch face just fucking down, y'all. Is it really gonna let me? I need to copy paste things. Boop, sorry. My bio has been nothing for resting Twitch face. I cannot believe it uploaded. I feel like it's wrong. It uploaded the full hour. Okay. Whoops. I'm spelling everything wrong. My headphones are so gonna die. I'm baffled it let me do this. Let me see. Lets me pick a language for the subtitles. Huh. All right, computer. Touche. It fucking did it. Shocked. I am shocked. Autosync. Sweet. Done. It's gonna let me upload it. Goddamn. How much? Oh, 16 minutes left to HD. Okay, that's what I thought. So it'll probably go faster once we get off, and then it'll be up. So go join my wrestling Twitch face. Oh, Zach, hi. Welcome in. My busiest was definitely quantum plus what's EMAG plus math physics, some core courses, gen eds, junior, yeah, gen eds, all that, yeah. Let's see who's on, shall we? Who's doing the dues? Oh my god, we have so many y'all. I get to see so many more friends now because I don't usually stream at night. Electromag. Oh my god, that's a lot. That's a big word. That's big word. Too big for Gwen. Oh my god, we have so many friends on. Y'all, yo. Y'all, you know who's on? You know who's currently on? The Fraggy. The wonderful Fraggy is currently on. One of those rite of passages courses, nah. You need to know the physics, but really it's do a whole fucking lot of math for a long time. I hate that. But I'm trying to work with LGBTQ, yay! To help them get mental health support. I just need to get them to employ me and pay to do it rather than in my free time as charity. No, I feel that, Jen. Yeah. I wish you all the best luck with that. That's awesome. That is an awesome thing for you to want to do. And it's needed. It's hella, you are in the right area and you are needed. But we're gonna see Fraggy, because Fraggy's really awesome, y'all. Fraggy's a horror streamer. She's currently doing, just chatting. Share pronouns. She's really, really, really dope. Like a really dope individual. She's good. She's a good bean. Thank you for shouting out Fraggy. You can get in there and load up stuff. My headphones are probably gonna die. But I'm gonna do all this. I literally I posted a TikTok literally just now, like an hour ago on my TikTok. So get in there and like it and do a little boost it for me, because I hope I want everyone to be able to see it, because I work really hard on my TikToks. But y'all are awesome, and I will be back. We streamed twice this week, and I don't know what the rest of my week looks like, but keep an eye out in my Discord for if I go live. I will be live actually tomorrow, Thursday, for D&D. D&D moved up. We're starting at 7, I think, around 7 or 7 something, and then ending at like 10 something. But I'll post that going live in my Discord as well. And then we'll be on with Dad Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday. Damn, hells yeah. A good weekend. D&D campaign. My little queer children, come for me. I don't know why that paused it. Jen, hi, lurk while I eat. Thank you so much for lurking. We're actually just heading out to see a wonderful, wonderful streamer friend. I know she has a lot that's been going on, and she hasn't got to stream as much, so we're gonna go in there and send literally all our love possible. You can use my Creatures of the Dark message, or you could just say something like, we're glad you're here, something uplifting, something positive times. I think she's actually doing show prep, either for D&D, or I'm assuming for D&D, actually. Let's go see. We're gonna go figure it out. Well, we're going. Have a good rest of your day or nights, and I'll see y'all next time I see you.